The once prosperous and beautiful Earth is now the biggest junkyard in the Milky Way. Not only is the Earth's surface covered in layers of metal waste, even the remaining humans are permanently banned from leaving Earth. I'm one of the scavengers on this trash-ridden Earth, but I swear I'll make Earth great again. All because I got tech shards from an advanced civilization. All tech creations can be synthesized and upgraded. High up in the sky, as the thick hatch of the giant spaceship opens, millions of tons of trash fall from the sky. Soon, a nearly 500-meter-tall, giant trash mountain appears on the ground. New stuff's here again. My eyes glint with excitement. I start climbing the trash mountain with my robot Hanzai. But right at that moment, a loud roaring noise rings out. A heavy-duty motorcycle shows up at the top of the trash mountain. A big guy wearing a black gas mask is on the bike, followed by a dozen underling scavengers. Hey Luo, I already paid the Scavengers Association the development fee for this pile of trash in advance, even though I borrowed the money from Hound. But since I've paid up, this trash pile belongs to me. The motorcycle guy's eyes are full of greed. You little beggar are always sharp. You actually dared to borrow money from Hound. This trash must be worth quite a bit. I immediately figured out what he was up to. I said calmly and firmly, "Aren't you scared the Scavengers Association will punish you? The association has another rule." The motorcycle guy shakes his head. Then a murderous look flashes in his eyes. Dead people's reservations are void. Bye. The rear metal cover of the heavy motorcycle flips open. A rusty cruise missile rises up. Hiss! White smoke billows everywhere. The missile launches with a loud boom. Its positioning radar is also fully rusted, but it wobbles straight towards me. Boom! Heat waves sweep across the area. Countless metal fragments are blown into the sky. A dark figure is flung high into the air, then falls into a trash abyss 2 kilometers away. The motorcycle guy sneers. "This area is ours from now on. Stop standing around, damn it, get to work." Inside the trash abyss, I take a deep breath and jolt awake from my coma, only to see Hanzai's rusty head resting on my chest. His robotic arm is wrapped tightly around me. I push Hanzai's limp arm away. I stand up and look at Hanzai's back. My pupils widen in shock. At this moment, half of Hanzai's torso has been blown off. Worst of all, his entire back of the head is melted. His memory transistor is completely shattered. Tears stream down my face uncontrollably. After my grandpa passed away, Hanzai was my only companion. But now Hanzai is completely gone. Similar tech creation detected. Initiate tech synthesis. Right at this moment, a voice suddenly rings in my ear. That sounds full of futuristic tech texture. I'm shocked for a second. I dazedly look at the back of my right hand. Inside the unknown crystal wristband, 4 blue star-like dots are swirling and bouncing around. This wristband has been on my hand the moment Grandpa picked me up when I was little. Later, Grandpa said it's probably a level 13 civilization creation, but Grandpa was already a bit senile back then. He even said his chamber pot and dentures were level 13 civilization creations too. The crystal wristband suddenly emits 2 blue scanning beams. One scans Hanzai's broken body, the other scans a trash pile in the distance. The inside of the trash pile becomes visible instantly. Over there's another abandoned B343 half buried in the trash. Nanny robot. Same model as Hanzai. Please select synthesis subject. My pupils tremble slightly. The 2 B343 units can be merged into one. I instinctively look at Hanzai by my feet. In the dim fog, it seems to have a visual capture function. The grid covering Hanzai's body also turns red. Material formatting initiated. Activated. That half buried. Rust covered. B343 suddenly glows with bright blue light, then breaks into tiny blue dots of light and gather onto Hanzai's body. In just over 10 seconds, the bright light slowly fades away. A brand new humanoid robot appears. B897 Security Protection Nanny Robot, equipped with home security patrol and monitoring devices. It can detect intrusions and dangers in advance and carry out effective prediction and reconnaissance. I'm frozen in shock. It upgraded directly from B3 level to B8 level, and it's completely brand new. Similar tech creation detected. Initiate tech synthesis. Before I can even react, the crystal wristband emitted a synthetic electronic voice again. 2 scanning beams shot out from the wristband once more. Under a newly formed wreckage not far away, 2 other B343 nanny robots were picked up by the scan. There are 2 more discarded B343 units over there. My eyes darted back and forth thoughtfully. Please select the main material for synthesis. Formatting initiated. The next second, 2 B897 units appeared in front of me. One was converted from the discarded B-343 under the star debris. The other was converted from the dead Hanzai. Similar tech devices detected. Proceed with tech synthesis. My throat went a little dry. It can keep going. The second B-897 was formatted. It broke down into countless tiny blue light dots, then merged into the B-897 converted from Hanzai. Put it another way. The basic synthesis rule of the crystal wristband is 4:2, then 2:1 to upgrade levels step by step. A few seconds later, the blue light faded away. Hanzai changed again. He grew a little taller once more. His limbs got much bulkier. A24 Environment Adaptive Nanny Robot possesses strong environmental adaptability. No matter how extreme the climate conditions are, or how complicated the terrain environment is, it can work normally. It also has multiple daily work tools built into its body, and can perform basic form shifting. I was too shocked to speak. A-class assistant robot. Maybe they are super common on alien planets, but for Earth at this moment, there is definitely no second one of its kind. Hanzai, can you hear me? My voice was shaking a little. Dear customer. Hello, this is A24 Environment Adaptive Nanny Robot at your service. Please complete the initial setup. Listening to the robot's emotionless voice, my body went completely stiff. The machine is fixed, sure, but Hanzai is gone forever. Tears welled up in my eyes. I reached out to touch the A24's chest. I can't keep this act up anymore. You dummy. Don't touch me if you're not buying, idiot. My hand froze mid-movement. Wait, that voice sounds way too familiar. In front of a shabby shed? Fully revived Hanzai was admiring his brand new body in the mirror. I ignored that dumbass. I rubbed my chin, staring at the mysterious item on my left wrist. This thing is unbelievably amazing. Could this really be what Grandpa talked about? It is a creation of level 13 civilization. What are you? I suddenly asked the wristband on my right wrist. I didn't expect it to answer at all. I am STC, based on your knowledge. The common interpretation is standard construction template, or standard template construction. All right, I stood up slowly. I squinted and said, what you are is not the most important thing. What matters is, I will make the most of your value. Start testing. I grabbed 2 stones of similar size. Non-tech object. Synthesis unavailable. If it is not a tech device, synthesis cannot be initiated. I thought for a second. I stood up immediately, walked into the shed, grabbed 8 pairs of complex structured metal shoes, exploration shoes. Threw hydraulic parts at the bottom. They have a bounce height of 20 to 80 centimeters. These were all trash I collected before. Though their tech level is pretty low, they are still pure tech creations. Similar tech devices detected, just as I expected. STC emitted a blue scanning beam. Please select the main material for synthesis. Formatting initiated. 1 pair of shoes was broken down into basic units by the blue light and sprayed onto the other pair of exploration shoes. Exploration leg guard extends up to the knee. Relieves knee pressure. Maximum jump height, 4.5 meters. My eyes widened slightly. With this, climbing a 100-meter trash mountain would take no more than 10 minutes tops. I looked at the other 4 pairs of exploration shoes. Did the same thing again. Combined 2 pairs of exploration leg guards into one. A brand new piece of gear appeared. Jet turbine power shoes, built with 18 microjet power turbines. High precision gyroscope. Tilt trend sensor. Wearer can fly up to 300 meters high. Maximum flight speed, 0.408 Mach. My whole body froze. 0.408 Mach. That is almost 500 kilometers per hour. On Earth right now, the sky is practically a forbidden zone. You can't even find a broken flying vehicle. It seems someone sorted the trash here. Their goal is very simple. No scavenger is allowed to leave Earth. 'Cause these trash bugs have the scummiest genes, they will never be allowed to leave Earth and contaminate the entire human civilization. I was absolutely stunned in disbelief. Dude, I can fly. With a dozen crisp clicks. These cool boots fit perfectly on my feet. The lights in dude's eyes flickered slightly. I suggest you get familiar with the manual first, before you mess around with it. Where's the fun in that? I took a deep breath. Let's go. Boom! Along with clouds of dust flying everywhere, I shot straight up into the sky. Trash. Earth's atmosphere was a dirty, dark gray color. But the sky is still the place countless trash bugs dream of. My heart was racing with excitement right now. I couldn't help yelling in the clouds, I'm the king of the sky. I'm the king of the world. STC is so freaking powerful. It can take all scrap tech and upgrade them into unimaginable cool gear. I looked down at the garbage-covered earth below me. There's countless tech scrap here. You can find almost anything. Looks like someone's legend is about to begin. And that someone is me. I'm gonna be the king of trash. On a certain garbage mountain, Arrow thought he heard a tiny mosquito-like noise. He turned back and looked up at the sky, and saw that several kilometers away in the sky, there was a faint trail of black smoke. A small tunnel boss with cheap prosthetic legs. Felt like something just took off. No way, Arrow squinted, and guessed it was probably some garbage that exploded. Amidst the ruins, I lifted my head. That landing was perfect. I just crushed my only shed to pieces, that's all. Next up, I looked at the shelf next to the shed. There were hundreds of black cylinders on it. These are all nickel-based superalloys. Even though they need complex refining, these alloys aren't worth much. 149 pieces of nickel-based superalloy. If I sell them directly, I can get around 100 credits. My eyes lit up. I wonder if these base materials can be synthesized. Similar items detected. Tech creations. Material formatting. Activated. That voice sounded so nice in my head. They're alloys, sure they're base materials, but they're still tech creations. Right at this moment, the satellite phone wrapped in tons of tape started buzzing like crazy. It's Luke the Hound. Requesting a call. Luke the Hound is a pretty successful scrapper. A year ago, he got rich suddenly after finding a high-value item, so he started running a loan sharking business. Earlier, to buy the development rights for a garbage dump. I bet everything I had and borrowed 2,800 credits from Luke the Hound. I thought after full development, I could easily pay him back principal plus interest, but that bastard Arrow stole it from me. Luke the Hound lives up to his name. He's a ruthless bloodsucker. If I can't pay back the money, I'll definitely get torn to shreds and ground into mince. But that was before. Now I have STC synthesis. Intermetallic compound. Compound made of 2 or more metallic elements. Features high strength, high hardness, good oxidation resistance, and other properties. Can be used to make high temperature parts for spacecraft. Looking at the brand new orange-yellow metal on the shelf, I slowly broke into a smile. Intermetallic compound. This material is very precious, but not extremely rare. A scrapper once found this kind of metal before. It was only 100 grams, and it let that scrapper live lavishly for 4 months, hooking up with every girl on Bar Street. Now I've synthesized an intermetallic compound the size of a fist. It's more than enough to pay off my debt. But I'm not stopping here. I've got hundreds of base synthesis materials right now. Similar tech creations detected. Material formatting activated. Amorphous alloy. Alloy made of multiple elements. Features ultra-high strength, ultra-high hardness, lightweight, extremely strong corrosion resistance, and other properties. Can be used for worn core parts of interstellar engines. It's a galaxy-grade industrial material. Keep synthesizing. High-entropy alloy. High-entropy alloy is an alloy with disordered atomic arrangement. S3 ultra-high strength. S3 high hardness, extreme electromagnetic shielding properties, and other features. Can be used to build high-precision interstellar radars. It's a galaxy-grade rare material. 5 minutes later, I was holding 23 pieces of amorphous alloy in my hand, and 4 pieces of high-entropy alloy. Items synthesized by STC are all leveled up across tiers. These 2 alloys are definitely no ordinary stuff. Figuring out their value is my top priority. I stood up and grabbed the satellite communicator. Luke the Hound had been yelling frantically over the line. "You little piece of trash bug. Think you can run off with my money? With compound interest, that's 4,800 credits total. If you can't pay up, I'll cut you open. I'll fucking sell your prefrontal cortex and spinal vertebrae to those biopunk merchants." The principal I borrowed was only 2,800 credits. It's been less than 7 days, and it's already gone up to 4,800. Everyone knows how scummy this is. Relax, I got really lucky today. I found a piece of intermetallic compound. It's about 100 grams. What? Luke the Hound sounded shocked, but then he gritted his teeth and said, "Like hell you do. I've seen this trick a million times. You're just trying to stall, right?" Ding. I flicked gently with my finger. The piece of intermetallic compound. It let out a clear, long-lasting ringing sound. Luke the Hound on the other end of the line went silent for 5 whole seconds. This guy's as cunning as they come. That crisp, clear sound. Can't be made by any ordinary metal? Great, got it. Right? Luke's voice was still aggressive. Let's round it off. Hand that piece of metal over to me, and we'll be all square on the debt. What a load of rounded off bullshit. I shook my head and laughed. Oh, by the way, I also found a white, translucent metal. The tag says it's called something like non-gold alloy. Is it worth anything? The comms went silent for 2 seconds. Then a faint static fizz came through. It seemed like the signal was being disrupted. Then Luke the Hound's disappointed voice came through. "Oh, it's just plain scrap. It's not worth shit. Can't sell it for much. All right, I'll take that plain scrap at market price. I've got business right now. Come meet me at the bar in 3 hours." Fucking annoying. Luke the Hound grumbled and hung up. I set the communicator down on the table. Then a small smile spread across my face. Luke was hiding something. Skywhale alloy is super valuable. That fizz sound from the comms just now wasn't signal interference at all. It was because Luke on the other end had suddenly squeezed the communicator as tight as he could. He also pretended he was busy right now and set the meeting for 3 hours later. If Luke the Hound knew that one piece of sky crystal alloy was enough to drive him crazy, and that I have 22 more of them in my hand, what would he think? He'd definitely find a way to kill your sorry ass. Sleep with your belly up? Ban the dumbass stretched out his arm and made a slitting throat gesture. Yep, I smiled helplessly. My eyes glinted as I said, "Forget other materials for now. A single piece of sky crystal alone is enough for him to kill and rob me. Dumbass, time to get to work." I stood up and patted my tattered blue cloak. Once Luke confirms I have the sky crystal, he'll pull out his gun and blow my head off straight away. Pansy heard that and nodded seriously. He stood up and said solemnly, "Then I'm not coming. What I mean is, I need to get enough combat gear. Within these 3 hours, I'm messing with you, man." Pansy puffed out his 2-meter-tall alloy body, looking super imposing. "Say the word, what's the plan?" 100 kilometers north of here. I stood at the door of the shack, gazing into the distance. I remember a year ago, a war equipment company dumped a ton of trash there. Boom. 2 bursts of air kicked up dust. 1 human and 1 robot flew north. 35 minutes later, I floated high in the sky, staring down at the ground below. My heart sank a little. The year-old trash was already covered by new trash, and these brand new piles of trash had a lot of Red Cross marks on them. They were obviously medical waste. Time's tight. We just have to dig. I stood at the foot of the trash mountain frowning. What's this? A whole box of diapers. What's this? A whole box of balloons? Why are there balloons in medical waste? Dumbass looked just like a rag picker right then. Whatever he found, he picked it up and looked it over carefully. What's this? A whole box of surgical mechanical gloves. My eyes lit up when I heard that. Keep that one, dumbass. V12 surgical auxiliary gloves. With internal mechanical joints, they help doctors make super precise finger movements. Similar tech detected. Synthesized tech creation. Breakdown into primitive units. Fused and upgraded B50. Surgical assistant gloves 11, much lighter in size. Fingertips can extend 0.3 meter diameter metal tentacles to complete more precise surgical tasks. I shook my head. That's not what I want. Breakdown into primitive units for fusion and upgrade. SR surgical assistant gloves. 5, integrated micron-scale circuit engraving. And micro power module technology. Fingertips can release micro-vibration force fields. Move internal organs remotely with small amplitude. Smash blood clots, stones, and other foreign bodies in human body. I shook my head again. That's not what I want either. Breakdown into primitive units for fusion and upgrade. S55 surgical assistant gloves. 2, integrated nanoscale circuit engraving. And ultra micro power module technology. The vibration force field range is expanded to 2 meters in diameter. Added controllable liquid flow direction technology. I widened my eyes a little. That's interesting. Breakdown into primitive units for fusion and upgrade. 01 surgical assistant gloves. Defective product 1. Why a defective product? My eyes went wide. STC never makes mistakes. Could it be that the final evolution result of this surgical assistant glove is a defective product 051 surgical assistant gloves? Defective product R&D hit a bottleneck. Researchers resorted to extreme measures, trying to achieve a revolutionary upgrade. But the final product ran counter to the R&D mission. Archived as obsolete. 051 based on the device's functions. Redefine its name. Mini high-power gravitational field adjustment glove. Once the gravitational field is released, it's volatile and unadjustable, causing all items within a 40-70 square meter area to float in the air and risk of shattering. Oh, it's a failure only in terms of medical auxiliary functions. But isn't this function a godsend for me? Hanzai, stay further away. I've already put the gravitational field adjustment glove on my hand. I'm wiggling my fingers slightly. Then I looked up at the huge medical waste mountain in front of me, palm facing forward. I suddenly spread all 5 fingers Buzz. A sound that made my eardrums thud violently rang in my ears. Then visible pale yellow ripples spread 30 meters ahead. Crack! The sound of metal rubbing and tearing rang out. Iron shavings peeled off, dust floated around. In the air ahead, hundreds of pieces of waste of all sizes were floating. Gravitational field control. Boom. I moved my hand sideways. The floating waste ahead was also moved sideways by the force field. Force field retracted. Countless pieces of waste crashed to the ground, and the spot that was originally full of waste was now cleared out, with a full 60 square meters of space. I looked down at the big blue tech glove in my hand. It's really a godsend. It solves my urgent need. An hour later, I had moved nearly 2,000 tons of waste. The medical waste on top was finally moved away. I picked up a metal nameplate, wiped it gently, revealing a line of text. Dan. War Equipment Manufacturing Group. My eyes lit up. I'm finally close to my target. Keep moving. But over 20 minutes passed. Still no useful stuff found. The disposal standard for war-related waste is super high. Core components must be removed, not to mention firearms. They're basically cut into pieces before disposal. Only 1 hour left before my meeting with the Hound. I felt a little anxious inside. Right at this moment, I stopped what I was doing. Deep inside the waste mountain, there was a huge metal fuel barrel. All entrances and exits were welded shut layer by layer. Why seal all the entrances? I narrowed my eyes. Then I winked at Hanzai. Hanzai got it. His arm changed shape and flipped out a metal cutting gun. This abandoned fuel tank was surprisingly thick. It took a full 9 minutes to cut an entrance big enough for one person to pass through. The inside of the barrel was dimly lit. A smell of rot drifted out, along with unknown black ash. I narrowed my eyes, tied a square scarf over my nose and mouth, then slowly stepped into the huge fuel barrel. Crash! A white mass suddenly fell from above my head. A pair of bony white hands suddenly grabbed my neck. I didn't expect this at all. I panicked completely. I stepped back 2 paces. When I came to my senses, I realized a white skeleton was hanging above my head. I took a deep breath. Calm myself down. I peered deeper into the fuel barrel again. The next second, I see something horrifying. Bodies, almost 30 bodies. Why are there dead bodies in Dane Group's trash? Did someone dump the bodies here after killing them? Through the haze, I lower my head to check their name tags. Waxia Interstellar, 3rd Special Operations Team, 6th Battalion Exploration Corps. 3rd Team, 6th Battalion Exploration Corps. Isn't this the famous Extreme Squad? The Extreme Squad were iron-blooded heroes 20 years ago. They were fearless and selfless. They explored outer space. They saved tens of thousands of refugees. But one day 20 years ago, this heroic squad suddenly announced their disbandment. When I was a little kid and heard this news on the overclocking radio, I couldn't help crying my heart out over it. But why are there bodies here? I bend down to check the skeletons next to me carefully. My pupils constrict slightly. There are cut marks on all their neck bones. All of them had their throats slit, then sealed inside this metal tank, and thrown away as garbage. There must be a shady secret hidden here. Out of respect and regret for these heroes, I collect their name tags one by one, hoping that one day when I'm able to, I can uncover the truth about what happened to them. When I get to the deepest part of the fuel tank, I see 8 larger than normal white skeletons. To be exact, it's the bulky combat suits they're wearing. My body starts trembling uncontrollably. That's the 8-member Extreme Warrior team. The X-12 Extreme Warrior exoskeleton they're wearing, even though it was obsolete tech from 20 years ago. On the current trash-filled Earth, anyone with a working X-12 can basically do whatever they want. Of course, the exoskeletons in front of me are totally busted, but that's no problem for me since I have STC. 8 exoskeletons can be synthesized 3 times. I'm looking forward to these heroes' gear being reborn, hoping that the legend of the Extreme Warriors will be brought back to life by my hands. Breakdown into raw units. Start synthesis. X-55 Extreme Warrior powered exoskeleton. Individual combat equipment. Uses hydraulic or electromechanical transmission to transfer engine power to the limbs. Made of titanium aluminum compound. Power output 4500. 800 N iteration version. STC synthesis doesn't come out of thin air. It's more like a collection of evolution blueprints for all tech equipment. Then through repeated upgrades, the blueprints are brought to reality step by step. Breakdown into raw units. Fuse and upgrade. X-23 Extreme Warrior armor. Individual combat equipment. All power augmentation structures are hidden under the alloy armor. Size is further reduced. and defense capability is greatly increased. All base performance increased by 240%, added multi-environment adaptive breathing system, radar monitoring system, ultra-long-range communication system, tactical analysis, intelligent cloaking, melee weapon. This isn't an exoskeleton anymore. Its codename is Armor Baby. Wait a bit, you can get even stronger. I hold back the excitement in my heart. No normal guy can resist the allure of mechs. Break down into raw units. Fuse and upgrade. Triple XO1 Memory Metal Extreme Warrior Powered Armor. My pupils constrict slightly, then widen. Memory Metal Armor. Wasn't this the concept mech that the Galactic Science Alliance proposed a while back? In other words, this piece of equipment hasn't been invented in human civilization yet. This technology comes from the Level 2 Civilization database. The latest prompt from STC makes me freeze for a second. Technology from a Level 2 civilization. Human civilization is currently around Level 1.5. It may look like it's only a 0.5 difference from Level 2, but it's not as simple as adding and subtracting numbers. It took humanity from Level 0 civilization to Level 1.5, where we can fully use our home planet's energy, starting from Australopithecus afarensis, walking upright, using fire, making and using tools, all that. A total of 4 million years. On top of that, every leap between civilization levels takes an extremely long time. What's Level 2 civilization technology like? Can it represent the top tech of a Level 2 civilization? The standard for advancing to Level 2 civilization is a more efficient way of obtaining energy, like using a Dyson sphere to fully exploit the home planet's energy. Higher civilizations also have limited resources and energy. They put different amounts of research effort into different creations. Oh, that makes sense. I look at the Triple XO1 Extreme Warrior armor in front of me. It's so lightweight. It's even a little slim. It looked like a dark silver, tight bodysuit that didn't cover hands or feet. Nor did it come with head armor. Damn. I swallowed hard. I reached out to gently touch the Triple XO1 in front of me. At that very moment, the metallic surface of the dark silver armor suddenly started flowing like liquid. It quickly crawled up my finger and covered my whole body. The next second, I felt a sharp pain at the back of my head. It felt like my brain was struck by electricity instantly. My mind went blank and my whole body went numb. Right after that, my limbs were stretched out forcibly, making loud cracking sounds from my bones. Can't you go easier on me? It hurt so bad for the first time. My face twisted in pain. I felt like my whole body was about to be snapped apart. After about a dozen seconds, finally, that conflicting, resisting feeling slowly faded away. Then a feeling of being in full control kicked in. It seemed the memory metal armor finished its initial matching and fully released the control. I narrowed my eyes immediately. I suddenly felt my control over my body had gained a strong sense of confidence. It was like I was given extremely fierce power, lightning-fast speed, and the precision of a nanowave radar. At the same time, in front of me, a palm-sized blue holographic screen popped up. It was the built-in interface of the armor. My eyes went wide. Such crazy stats. We're all packed into this one thin and light armor. Is this what a Level 2 civilization is like? Due to physical fitness, gene sequence, and other factors, the armor's base stats are not fully unlocked yet. Gene sequence? I let out a sigh and shook my head silently. Then I perked up again. That expandable memory metal capacity of 0.4 cubic meters. What does that mean? I thought for a second. Flowing liquid poured out from my wrist and slowly formed a sharp dagger. I focused my mind. The dagger changed its shape and extended into a dark silver spear almost 2 meters long. Oh, that's what it means. I felt the spear in my hand felt like it was part of my body. My eyes were shining brightly. The coolest part of the Triple XO1 is its ultra-thin and light build. Right now it fits like a thermal underwear, hidden under my clothes. Hanzai held the communicator up high. After a burst of static noise, Hound's impatient voice came through. Hey kid, it's almost time. You on your way yet? Let me tell you, my time is precious. If you're late, I won't even bother taking your stuff. Then Hound hung up immediately. I smiled calmly. He's still playing hard to get. Hanzai, we've got almost all the gear. Come on, let's go meet the #1 bully of Bar Street. The so-called Bar Street is just located in a garbage valley, with a few shabby houses for scavengers to hang out. I heard this was the site of the Pentagon in the old era. Right now, a teenage boy and a linen-covered robot showed up at the street corner. Walking slowly towards the bar, the boy suddenly stopped and looked at the figure in a red dress across the bar. She was the most beautiful sight on Bar Street. No, she was even the most beautiful sight on the entire garbage planet. She was so beautiful, like she didn't belong to this world. I plucked up my courage and walked to Hina's side. Hina's beautiful eyes had a faint blue ring in her pupils. It looked mysterious and magical. That was the symbol of high-grade genes. After the Great Space Age began, human gene modification technology fully took off. Based on the quality of their genes, humans were divided into different classes. Average humans from the old era are almost considered trash in this day and age. All scavengers have average genes, but Hina was born with a special gene grade. Though it's only slightly better than average people, she is still a dazzling and bright star on this garbage planet. Everyone wants to get close to me. Everyone says they like me, but no one respects my opinions. Hina's voice was clear and soft. She smiled. Your sudden approach has already bothered me. Promise me, please keep a comfortable distance from me in the future. I pursed my lips and finally put on a polite smile. Sorry for the disturbance, then I turned and left. Hina's father is the leader of the Scavengers Alliance. No one can force her to do anything. Do things you don't want to do. This little punk is always daydreaming about unrealistic stuff. Inside the bar, Luke the Hound is secretly watching everything outside the window. Then he orders his men behind him that all ambushes are set. Guard every single exit. Once that little punk walks in, he's never walking out. A moment later, I finally make it to the bar's back room and see Luke the Hound, who's got a yellow mohawk. Luke the Hound pulls a fully charged beam pistol out of his coat. Then he taps the table lightly with his heel. Then from behind his desk slowly crawls out a blood-covered white-haired old man. He was a good friend of Grandpa Lynn's when he was alive. I then lift my head and glance at the man standing in the corner, who has a modified hydraulic robotic arm. This guy is the top enforcer on Bar Street, held as a hostage. They even got all the tough goons ready too. Luke the Hound really doesn't want any tiny accidents to happen. Ha! You're not gonna use those cheap tricks like I didn't bring it, even if you kill me. You'll get nothing out of this, right? Luke the Hound gives a creepy grin. You little trash bug. I got a few questions for you. Where are you for— Before he can finish talking, I cut him off immediately and slam a piece of intermetallic compound on the table. This is to pay back your usury loan. Then I pull another piece out of my coat. Translucent golden metal. This is what I want to sell. Holy shit, it's real. Luke the Hound's eyes go wide. His pupils shrink sharply. It takes him a good 7 or 8 seconds to process it. Kid, you're way too smart. I still ignore him and pull out another piece of translucent golden metal from my coat and set it gently on the table. Holy fucking shit, Luke swallows hard. You actually have 2 pieces of fly gold alloy. I just keep going on my own and keep pulling out the 3rd, 4th, 5th piece and 6th piece of fly gold alloy. Holy mother of shit. Luke the Hound's eyes are practically popping out of his head. You have this many? The next second. This guy is over the fucking moon. We're already at this point. If I don't kill him now, my whole reputation is gonna go to shit. Luke the Hound covers his mouth, holding back his laughter, and waves at the enforcer in the corner. Holy shit, I can't stop laughing. Hurry up, kill him! I can't take it anymore. A hissing pneumatic sound rings out. Inside the top enforcer's robotic arm bursts out a cloud of boiling hot steam. He wears a vicious grin and reaches around from behind to squeeze my neck hard. At that exact moment, a flash of cold fury crosses my eyes. Memory metal surges out of my sleeve. My palm is instantly covered in a layer of dark silver armor. Then, like lightning, I reach out both my hands and grab a hold of Bar Street's top enforcer's 2 robotic arms. The force is so strong that it twists the enforcer's arms completely out of shape. Crack, the triple X01 Extreme Warrior armor's power surges and rips both of the enforcer's robotic arms straight off. Shrapnel flies everywhere as the top enforcer stares on in shock. I kick the enforcer hard in the chest. A loud boom echoes out. The enforcer's body goes flying straight back, crashing through layer after layer of the bar's walls, flying over a dozen meters, and finally ends up in a twisted position, embedded in the garbage mountain outside. Holy shit, Luke the Hound is completely stunned, his mouth opening and closing slightly. Luke's other men rush over when they hear the noise. Heavy footsteps echo in the hallway outside the door. I glance around quickly and see that inside Luke's office, there's a heavy old era safe. I bend down slightly and lift the nearly 2-ton alloy safe right up. The armor's power flows to my hands. I only release 30% of my kinetic force and hurl the safe like a cannonball Boom, Luke, the hound's office door is smashed to pieces. A string of muffled grunts comes from the hallway. Finally, on the street over a dozen meters away, another loud crash into the garbage mountain echoes out. After that, the whole place goes dead silent. Holy fucking shit, Luke's body freezes up. He can't wrap his head around it at all. What kind of gear on garbage earth can lift a 2-ton safe that easily? I lean forward slightly. Luke the Hound, now I've got a few questions for you. Fuck your questions. The vicious Luke lifts his beam pistol instantly and pulls the trigger right at my head. Bang! Smoke curls up slowly. Instead, I use my armor-covered right hand to grip Luke's gun muzzle. I squeeze my 5 fingers together. The top luxury item in Garbage World. That beam pistol was crushed into pieces. Go ahead and ask, bro. The hound's mouth twitched. He first looked completely shocked, then quickly switched to an ugly, forced smile. I glanced at the non-gold alloy on the table. How much is it actually worth? That piece is worth about 1,000. Credits. Hound Luke swallowed hard. Bam! I grabbed Hound Luke's head and slammed it right into the metal table in front of us. I did lie to you, all right? That piece can sell for 2,000. Credits. Hound's mouth was full of blood. His eyes were filled with begging. Bam! I slammed Hound Luke's head into the metal table again. 4,000. It sells for 4,000. Bam! The metal table dented from the impact. Don't kill me, I'll talk. Non-gold alloy is 4,000. Per gram! 4,000 per gram! Now it was my turn to be shocked. How much for the non-gold alloy? 4,000 per gram. Please spare me, bro. That's the highest price I can get for it. My body went stiff for a second. I knew Hound would lie about the value, but I never expected it to be this ridiculous. That piece of non-gold alloy weighs around 50 grams. I have 23 pieces of it. 4,000 per gram. In credits. How much is that total? After I calmed my breathing, I grabbed Hound Luke by the head. One last question. Who has the money to buy this much non-gold alloy? Hound completely gave up resisting. He pulled a fairly nice communicator out of his desk drawer. The buyer isn't some low-class scavenger. He doesn't even live on Earth. And this communicator is the only way to get in touch with him. I picked up the communicator, my eyes darting back and forth. Thanks for cooperating. I helped the badly injured old Lin walk slowly out of the bar. The second we stepped outside, boom, the rundown bar burst into raging flames. A lot of onlookers knew that this little trash rat had just beaten the best fighter on Bar Street one-on-one, taken out a local bully's base, and gone the extra mile to burn the Hound to ash completely. Across the street, Hina in her red dress only glanced this way. The second I stepped out of the bar, then Hina turned her head back, her beautiful eyes filled with confusion and unknown hope. She stared quietly at the gray sky. I shook my head silently. Hina has really unique values. I wonder what kind of guy could ever win her real affection? Using the communicator I got from Hound, I contacted the buyer. The man called himself Mo, an advanced human living on another planet. We agreed to meet at 9 p.m. after dark. Mo would fly his aircraft and land secretly on Earth. It was 5 p.m. at that moment. Henzai was carrying a huge safe and walked back to the shack, leaving deep footprints with every step. I don't have what it takes to be a thrifty housekeeper. Henzai dropped the heavy safe hard on the ground. At the end of the day, you still gotta rely on me. I smiled helplessly. No wonder I didn't see Henzai during the fight earlier. This guy went off to steal someone's safe. After we cut open the safe door, Henzai pulled out pack after pack of stuff from inside. It was actually pollution-free natural mineral water. It only expired 2 years ago. Oh my god. There are even 2 apples. I was pretty surprised too. Hound's safe was full of nothing but food. The only item we didn't recognize was a black high-tech box, but it was already broken. I have entered Earth's atmosphere. In 2 minutes, I will land. Mo's voice came from the special communicator. I stood up, my expression turning serious. Hope this trade goes smoothly. But 5 minutes later, Mo's voice came over the communicator again. I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Chung. Even though I've landed already, I got held up by something unexpected. We need to push our meeting back 20 minutes. Something unexpected? I frowned. Is he gonna get revenge for Hound? Also just now, I heard some weird, indescribable noises coming from the communicator. Obviously, I wasn't gonna just sit around and wait, so I went with Henzai and crept towards the trading spot under the moonlight. We moved quickly and soon reached a desolate area. I spotted a small, super-futuristic aircraft. I didn't show up recklessly. Instead, I hid behind a garbage heap. squinting to observe the scene. The hatch of the small aircraft was open, and when I saw what was inside the cabin, I froze completely and went blank. Right at this moment, Hina in a red dress was wrapping her arms around Mo's neck, licking Mo's cheek. With a dazed, infatuated look on her face, she's the most beautiful woman on this trash-filled earth. But she was facing an alien man she'd never met before, throwing herself at him willingly, and faced with such a sweet offer. The man pushed her away in obvious disgust. When I saw the man walking towards me, I froze like a statue behind the garbage heap, my lips trembling uncontrollably. "Do you know Hina?" Mo shook his head. "No, I don't know her. That woman spotted my aircraft when I landed, so she came up to me and made that kind of offer on her own." My eyes went wide in shock. I could barely accept what I just heard. "That's impossible." "It's totally normal." Mo smiled helplessly. "My gene grade is D. Hers is E. She wants to have a high-grade gene offspring, so she can rise in status through her child and leave this damn place." I stared into Mo's pupils. There were 3 gorgeous blue rings inside them. Graded E genes. I couldn't describe how I felt at that moment. All scavengers here have really low-quality genes, and that's exactly why some people don't want the low-quality genes here to leave Earth and contaminate the entire human civilization. This place is a prison for all scavengers, and every scavenger has a little fantasy deep down that they can leave Earth one day and integrate into the real human civilization. So she just... I felt a little confused. That once proud red rose in front of a high-grade gene holder was as lowly as a begging bitch. "Did that hit you that hard?" Mo tilted his head and asked with great interest. "Let me be honest with you. That girl's looks in the world of high-grade gene holders are totally mediocre." Mo gave a comforting pat on my shoulder. "As long as human beings exist, social classes will exist too. You're still so young. You still have plenty of chances. Don't fixate on the small stuff right in front of you. The vast universe is far beyond what you can imagine." Something shifted inside my heart. This clueless 18-year-old kid learned a lesson he'll never forget today. I took a deep breath and pulled out 23 pieces of non-gold alloy all at once. As for the higher-grade high-commercial alloy, I decided to hide it for the time being. Compared to ordinary scavengers, you're really something else. Mo nodded calmly. "These alloys are worth a lot." "What do you want in exchange? Credit points or some other items?" I clenched my fists and lifted my head inch by inch. "I want to exchange them for gene catalyst potions. The cheapest, most basic model available. As many as I can get. I'll take whatever you have." "Got it." Mo took out a tiny high-tech scale, a golden scanning beam. Scanned the 23 pieces of non-gold alloy up and down. Non-gold alloy purity, 100%. Total weight, 186.3 grams. Total value, 5,000, 16,000. Credit points. Mo held the high-tech scale in one hand and looked at me seriously. "That's the standard market price. Fair for everyone, no cheating." My eyebrows twitched a little. 1 gram of titanium alloy costs more than 4,000 credits. Hound was beaten half to death, and he still dared to hide this stuff. Per the Galactic Alliance regulations, even the lowest level gene catalyst potion is an extremely precious item, worth a small fortune. The unfamiliar voice sounded completely rational. Even though the success rate of that potion is as low as 0.0035%, its market price is still as high as 1 to 2 million per unit. I caught the key point immediately. "What about outside the Galactic Alliance regulations?" Mo smiled, a hint of approval flashing in his eyes. "Black market gene catalyst potions cost 800,000 each. Their success rate is 0.002 percentage points higher, but the downside is they easily cause gene dissolution, killing the user on the spot." I frowned and said surprisingly, "Is there anything worse?" "What?" Mo tilted his head. "I thought you were ready to risk your life to fight for that less than 1% chance. I didn't expect you to be even crazier than I thought. If you want something even worse, it's something only I, Mo, can get my hands on." Mock tilted his head back. "Black is a gene catalysis serum. Failed product, 300,000 apiece. Survival rate is only 0.8%. There was a glint in my eyes that Mo couldn't figure out. Even Mo, who was always laid back, froze for a moment. He stared at me quietly for a long time. Then he nodded in relief. "I need to take your alloy first. Do you trust me? I've heard that higher gen people aren't just physically enhanced." I stared at Mock. "Their cognition, state of mind, and morality will improve as their gene sequences get better. Some people are like that, but not all of them." Mock nodded. But if you're dealing with me, you have nothing to worry about. After saying that, Mock put the non-metallic alloy into the black suitcase he carried with him. He turned around and left. But after a few steps, he stopped. He turned back and said, "For your trust in me, I'll give you a free gift too." I took the thing he handed over and found it was a paper business card. Huolian, Chief Professor of Miaozi Research Institute. What kind of information is this? Mo picked up the suitcase. He said slowly, Miaozi Research Institute was the last batch of scientific research institutions to evacuate Earth. Although it's been abandoned by mainstream science now, it must have left a lot of scientific research equipment. And you're a scavenger. Mo walked back towards the aircraft. He said with his back to me, "This information should be useful to you." After Mo boarded the aircraft, Hera was kicked off immediately. She watched the aircraft rise slowly into the sky, with an indescribably lost look on her face. Behind the garbage heap, I watched that beautiful figure fade away. There was an extra touch of indifference in my eyes. Hera is no longer the beautiful red rose in my heart. Right now, I just want to climb all the way up to break that class barrier that no one has ever broken before. Miaozi Research Institute. What is Miaozi? Is it some kind of unknown particle? In front of the shack, I stared at the business card in my hand by the bonfire light. This business card is probably over 100 years old. I flipped the card to look at the back. The back was completely empty. Except for one pattern, my pupils suddenly constricted. I stood up immediately and took out a black box from the shack. This was the item I got from Hound's safe. Compare the box with the business card. The patterns are exactly the same. This box used to belong to Miaozi Research Center. I acted immediately and started taking apart the tech box in front of me. 10 minutes later, I had completely taken apart the tech box. It was a signal tracker, and the target it locates is most likely Miaozi Research Center. But 4 types of chips inside the tracking box were completely burned. This chip technology is very outdated. It's hard to find even in the entire Earth garbage dump. Screech. A harsh dragging sound came from outside the shack. It sounded like some kind of metal scraping against the ground. I lifted the tarp and looked outside the door. A little girl around 5 or 6 years old stood at the door. The girl was dragging a worn-out bathtub full of tech junk. Behind her was a little robotic dog, pushing the bathtub hard with its forehead. "I heard you got bombed by Elo's missile. I just came to see if you're dead." The little girl stared at me with her big, dark eyes. "Are you dead?" "It's Xiaoqiang." I walked out of the shack. I thought for a second. "I don't think I'm dead." "That's good then." The little girl waved her hand. "You adults really make me worry so much." I smiled. "Where are you going?" Xiaoqiang sniffled and looked off into the distance. "To set up a stall on Bar Street. See if I can make some extra cash. You know, Mom works super hard to make a little money and never takes care of her health." I stared at Xiaoqiang. A year ago, Xiaoqiang's dad tried to find more valuable goods by digging deeper into the tunnel. But the tunnel collapsed. Xiaoqiang's dad was left there forever. To support Xiaoqiang, her mom had no other choice but to sell her body on Bar Street. Xiaoqiang has no idea what her mom's job really is. Ever since her dad passed away, she felt like she had to take on half the burden, so she always says those few mature-sounding lines. All the time. I glanced at the worn-out bathtub. "How much money do you plan to make?" "Selling it for 20 credit points is enough." Xiaoqiang nodded to herself. After all, every mature person knows that greed never pays off. I patted the little girl's head, turned around and walked back to my shack, and fetched a big bright red apple. Xiaoqiang's eyes went wide, staring at the surface of that fresh glowing red apple. "This must be worth 700 credits, right?" I pointed at the apple and said seriously, "This is an apple with a dream, you know. The second you try to sell it, or store it for a long time, it'll be so upset that it vanishes into thin air. It once told me quietly, its dream is to be eaten by someone while they walk." With that, I put the apple in Xiaoqiang's hand. "Here, help me make its dream come true." "Oh, you adults! You're obviously just trying to trick me, but you just had to make up a super flimsy fairy tale." Xiaoqiang picked up the apple and sniffed it, her eyes glistening with tears. After wiping her eyes, Xiaoqiang started dragging the tub forward slowly. "I won't take advantage of you. We'll split today's sale profits 50-50. "All right," I smiled. I just got back to my shack when I heard someone knocking. I lifted the canvas flap and saw Xiaoqiang had come back. She pointed at the half-eaten apple. "I finished half of its dream. Mom will help fulfill the rest." Then, she handed me a weird necklace with her other hand. Here, this is a gift for you. Don't turn your nose up at it, okay? It's super hard to find identical beads. I spent a whole year collecting them. I squinted at the necklace in my hand. It was a string of strung-together metal beads, like marbles from the old era, glowing with a silvery metallic sheen. Tech-like artifact detected, synthesized now. My expression froze for a split second. Small circuit repair robots. Can float and move into narrow equipment. Each unit is equipped with 14 micro-tentacles, with welding functions, capable of repairing millimeter-scale circuits. I was a little shocked. These tiny beads are actually small robots. Even though they are all scrapped, the STC can synthesize and upgrade them. Thanks, Xiaoqiong. I let out a slow breath. Sometimes a small act of kindness can bring totally unexpected rewards. It was dead quiet at night. I hid in my shack and took the necklace apart. There were actually 35 small repair robots. With these repair robots, I can fix the locator at Meowsy base. Start synthesizing microcircuit repair robots. X17, size reduced by 50%. Remote control enabled. Can enter equipment interiors due to size advantage. To perform simple mechanical repairs and circuit welding. I paused for a second. The size is smaller, but it's still way too big for repairing circuit boards. Continue synthesizing millimeter-scale circuit repair robots. X8, size now shrunk to the size of a rice grain, but still too big. Start synthesizing micron-scale circuit repair robots. X4, the repair robot is even smaller now. Like an unnoticeable sesame seed. Still not enough. Start synthesizing intelligence. Micron-scale circuit repair sprite X2, equipped with stronger intelligent recognition ability, can automatically detect and diagnose circuit faults, and quickly develop repair plans. It can penetrate into extremely tiny circuit structures to perform repairs. Single unit repair speed increased by 350%. Intelligence, that's exactly what I need. Their size is already negligible. There's one last synthesis chance left. Let's see if we can make it even smaller. Start synthesis! A loud roar followed. The ground shook violently. A giant metal cone nearly 4 meters tall, and at least 1.8 meters in diameter, appeared inside the shack. KB03 Quantum Intelligent Repair Cluster. Creation of a Level 2.2 civilization. Adopts advanced nanotechnology and artificial intelligence algorithms, allowing it to operate on a microscopic level. At the same time, it has the ability to self-learn and optimize repair strategies. Uses quantum communication and quantum computing technology, giving it super strong information processing capabilities and precise operation capabilities. I was a little dumbfounded. Dude, you're this huge... How the hell are you supposed to fix anything? Wait, cluster. Then I saw a palm-sized metal disc fly out of it, floating slowly to my shoulder like a UFO. The tiny UFO made a sound. Display cluster features now. I was stunned for a sec, sure. Show me. Then the metal cone suddenly looked like a disturbed beehive. In an instant, tens of thousands of dense repair robots flew out. That's when I realized that huge cone is a distribution hub. The little UFO next to my ear is a mobile control terminal. This is literally a nanoscale smart repair factory. STC never lets us down as expected. Even level 2.2 civilization creations are this damn powerful. I took a deep breath. I looked around and stared at the positioning box from Meowsy Research Center. Right then, tens of thousands of tiny repair bots crawled into the nanobox and started fixing one part after another. The whole process is so satisfying and stress-relieving. Beep beep. The positioning box's surface started blinking blue indicator lights. Then a projection popped up in midair. It was a flattened map of the Earth's surface. Station east longitude, 39.6 north latitude. I squinted at the coordinates. This location is Jingdu, a former Chinese city, but to scavengers nowadays, it has another name, No Return Zone. But right now I'm in Old World, Washington, D.C., 11,000 kilometers away from Jingdu, China. I have to take transport to get there. This is a beat-up ground effect vehicle. Anyone who pays the fee can take it to all parts of the garbage planet. There are several other scavengers on the craft. When they heard I was heading to Jingdu, they all looked at me in awe. All right, passengers, hold on tight and sit still. No need to wear seatbelts, because we don't have them on this flight anyway. The pilot crow shoved the control stick forward to take off. Boom! The beat-up ground effect vehicle kicked up sharp gusts of wind on both sides. It successfully took off after a sudden burst of speed. Mid-air, the craft was dropping parts like a toad dropping tadpoles, spitting out all kinds of parts non-stop. I stayed calm, frowning in thought. Am I gonna crash and die before I even reach Jingdu? Suddenly, a huge object billowing thick black smoke broke off from the craft and plummeted straight to the ground. Boss, Engine 2 just left us for good. A broken aircraft maintenance robot alerted. Chill, it's nothing. Bring out the backup. Bring out the backup. Crow was used to this and waved his hand dismissively. The aircraft maintenance robot skillfully picked up another engine and installed it on the wing. I've flown this route for 7 or 8 years. Dropped engines all over the place. I crow, fly rock solid, no worries. Stumbling and bumping all the way. Rising and falling. We finally reached the outskirts of Jingdu. Crow piloted the craft and slowly ascended. Hey buddy, if you ever make it back. The ride's free. I waved goodbye. Crow turned to look at the scene ahead. Endless stretches of garbage were surrounded by a light green haze floating around. 2 figures wearing jet turbine shoes on their feet shot straight into the sky, then headed straight for the heart of Jingdu. At the same time, in the surrounding garbage piles, huge rats suddenly crawled out one by one. They stared with bright red eyes at the 2 figures in the distant sky. One killer rat bared its terrifying, ferocious jaws and let out a weird, distorted sound towards the north. It was a warning, and the response it got came from its tens of million-strong colony. These mutant rats are extremely territorial. Once they spot intruders, they will even mobilize the entire colony to tear the intruders to shreds. That's why the Jingdu area is called the no-return zone by people, 100 meters up in the air. I watched the situation below me. Dense red dots popped up all over the ground. They were countless killer rats. They hid in the garbage piles. If you land in their territory, they will rush out from anywhere and tear the intruder apart instantly. I glanced at the latitude and longitude. The final location of Miaozi Research Center is 200 meters ahead. A huge starship wreck stands there. Hanzai and I just landed. A stench mixed with the smell of blood hit us in the face. A ferocious mutant killer rat, a full 1.5 meters long, leaped out suddenly from a nearby garbage pile. My extremist warrior armor had already issued a warning half a second earlier. In an instant, I grabbed the mutant rat, crack, and tore it in two. I looked back at the surrounding garbage piles again, and clearly saw at least a dozen killer rats shrink back. They are living creatures after all. They have an instinctive fear response. I'll hold them off. Hanzai, the exact coordinate is inside the starship wreck. You go in first. Dig as fast as you can. And be super careful, okay? Got it. Hanzai turned and crawled into the starship wreck. Brutality overpowered fear. A dozen killer rats leaped off the ground and lunged straight at me. The memory metal shifted into a sharp blade as long as 2 meters. In my field of view, I locked onto the positions of all dozen killer rats instantly and listed the one-hit kill operation steps. A dim silver glow cut through the dimness. All my movements were executed with perfect precision, following the armor's plan. I only felt 13 slight bits of resistance during the process, and 13 killer rats were sliced clean in half. I took a step forward, stepped on the body of a killer rat, and sliced its head off. I held the rat head up to the sky. Killer rats have bred for hundreds of years. Their numbers are insanely huge. You can never kill them all. The only way is to scare them off and make them retreat voluntarily out of biological instinct. The plan seemed to work. The surrounding killer rats let out low, shrill squeals, but none dared to actually climb out of the trash pile. I glanced at the lurking killer rats and was just about to go help Hanzai when the killer rats in front changed their behavior. They stopped coming closer, but started moving around me, forming layers of encirclement. They were trying to surround me. I narrowed my eyes. Suddenly, on the armor's holographic interface, I spotted a weird pale red sound wave. I followed the direction of the sound wave and immediately figured out what was going on. Right at that moment, dozens of killer rats in the first layer of the encirclement suddenly leaped high into the air. I frowned, held out my right hand, with all 5 fingers spread. Gravity field control gloves activated. The killer rats let out terrified squeals. They twisted their bodies wildly in the air, but couldn't fall back to the ground. At the same time, I held out my left hand, pointing at a small trash pile in the distance. The trash started shaking violently. A rat with pure white fur and a much smaller size was pulled out of the trash pile by me. These white-furred killer rats are the strategists of the colony. They can emit a kind of, low-frequency sound wave that human ears can't pick up, and use this wave to command other gray-furred killer rats. The air in front of me trembled I kept cranking up the power of the gravity field gloves when I saw the white rat's pupils suddenly take on a human-like expression. It was a look of terror and extreme shock. The white rat's body suddenly exploded into flesh and blood chunks. The other gray rats at this moment were stunned by the sudden scene and let out weird squeaking noises. I twisted my left hand again and pulled 3 more white rats out from under a nearby trash pile. These white rats looked even more obviously terrified. They had no idea how this creature could lock onto their positions and control their bodies from far away. Bung, bung, bung. Blood mist filled the air. All 3 white rats were blown to pieces by the gravity field. The gray killer rats were not just frozen stiff now. They were even shaking. They didn't dare move an inch. To defeat the enemy, take out their leader first. Instantly kill the strategists. Scare the regular killer rats into submission. I smirked in triumph. But half a second later, my smile froze a little. A suffocating stench hit me right in the face. Deafening noises came from all around. I looked up, and my pupils shrank suddenly. 1 kilometer away, a huge gray wave that blotted out the sky was rolling over. It was a rat tide, countless killer rats tumbling over each other, forming a giant wave hundreds of meters high, closing in on me from all directions. Looking at the killer rat tide coming at me like a tsunami, I immediately broke out in a cold sweat. What the hell did I do to deserve your entire colony coming for me? I turned around and yelled at Hanzai, "How's it going, according to my scan?" The old Kyoto site. Can't be reached if we only dig 260 meters down. Hanzai was bent over digging like crazy. Oh shit. Right after Hanzai said that, the ground under his feet collapsed with a loud boom, and Hanzai fell down with it. After a short delay, the sound of tons of trash hitting the ground came up. Damn it. I slipped and fell. Hanzai's voice came from below. He seemed to be fine. At the same time, on the holographic interface of the Extreme Warrior armor, a set of data popped up. Object fall time, 7.28 seconds. According to the freefall formula, the object fell 257.6 meters. My face instantly turned serious. We fell 257.6 meters. Buddy dropped into the deeply buried underground Kyoto. Whoa, there's a super solid alloy gate here. The password system is busted. Can't open it! Buddy's shocked yell came over. I glanced into the distance. The giant rat nest is less than 200 meters away from me. A single killer rat is no match for me at all. But there's endless numbers of them. I can't kill them all. We're already here anyway. Running is out of the question. Going back empty-handed is even more impossible. I gritted my teeth. I glanced at the tiny repair robots resting on my shoulder. I'm counting on you guys. Countless tiny robots flew out of the nanometer terminal. Like a cloud of smoke, they flew into the collapsed cave. I followed right after them and jumped into the cave. The rat tide behind me was hot on my heels. They leaped into the cave like a gray waterfall. The tiny repair robots got there first. Like a cloud of smoke, they drifted into the keypad on the side of the gate. Soon I got close to the ground. I did a roll to absorb the impact and landed on one knee. Right at that moment, the waterfall of killer rats in the air above was like a flood. It split into 2 parts. A huge dark figure darted out of the rat swarm. It was covered in red fur and must be over 4 meters tall. My pupils constricted. What is that? The killer rat king. How come there's such a crazy monster here? But the next second, I realized I was thinking too small. That red-furred killer rat wasn't the rat king at all, because in the next few seconds, hundreds more giant red-furred killer rats emerged. Maintenance plan being drafted. I was stunned when I heard that. I looked at the tiny pointy UFO. Dude, it's been several seconds already, and you're only starting to make the plan now. The fanged mouth of the red-furred killer rat let out a monster-like howl. Its giant bloody mouth lunged at me to swallow me whole. Equipment repair completed. I froze again for a split second. That repair speed is insane. Access control system repaired successfully, running smoothly. Now starting decryption process. Estimated time, 88 seconds. My mood was like on a roller coaster. 1 second I'm in heaven, the next I'm in hell. The decryption takes so long, when the rats rush down later, I'll be killing them forever. If I get the chance later, I definitely gotta make some weapons of mass destruction. Authorized personnel information detected. Huaxia District 52-Mon Research Center. Welcome. This time, the notification sound came from inside the alloy gate. I was confused. What does that mean? I'm an authorized person. How is that possible? The Muon base was abandoned ages ago. It's been buried underground for 100 years. The alloy gate started to shake. Chunks of dust fell off it. A gap slowly opened up. I grabbed Buddy next to me right away, squeezed sideways through the gap in the gate. Then the gate started to close slowly. One red-furred killer rat rammed half its body into the gap, but got stuck by the closing gate right away. The alloy gate was unbelievably powerful. The rat was squeezed by the huge force. Its body was cut clean in half. Listening to the constant banging outside the gate, I was breathing heavily. Gotta say, ruin exploration is really thrilling and exciting. I turned around slowly, looked inside the Manhwa Research Center. It was pitch black in here. Right at that moment, the light above my head suddenly turned on. Then rows of fluorescent lights lit up one after another. I took a small breath. This place looked like a huge office area, but everything in sight was completely empty. Hello there, friend. Right at that moment, a middle-aged man in a white lab coat appeared next to me without a sound. Who are you? I narrowed my eyes. A blade flipped out into my hand. My name is Huo Linzong. I'm the person in charge here. The middle-aged man had a friendly smile. Huo Linzong, lead professor of the Manhwa Research Center. That was the name on that business card. But that was from 100 years ago. He should be dead already. My pupils constricted again. Is he a ghost? Don't worry. Right now I'm just a 3D projection. But my real self is here too. I can take you to meet me. As he said that, Huo Linzong rolled up his sleeve, revealing a section of tattooed arm. Tattooed scientist. I stared at the 3D projection in front of me. I think Professor Huo is super unique. Don't mind me, I hung out on the streets for a few years when I was young. Scientists are fucking people too. Besides, the past is the past. The present is the present. Meowsy is also called music. It is an elementary particle. It has unique quantum properties. I got completely obsessed with Meowsy 16 years ago. My initial goal was to develop brand new energy sources. What boosted my confidence greatly was that we made a major breakthrough 6 years ago. Huo Linzong turned sideways to look at a meeting room on the left. That meeting room was originally completely empty. Suddenly, a 3D projection lit up inside it too. Countless young scientists were shouting inside. We did it! We finally captured Meowsy. Sadly, over the next 10 years, we achieved nothing at all. The projected Huo Linzong looked really downcast. We were under enormous pressure. We were mocked by our peers. We were targeted by the Science Research Association. Our investors pulled all their funding. Another projection popped up in the office on one side. It looked like the scene 10 years later. The young scientists all looked sad and worried. All of them had terrible dark circles under their eyes. The projected Huo Linzong kept walking forward. I believe Meowsy is related to the creation of the world. I have a strong belief in my heart. Once Meowsy is fully developed, human civilization will jump to a higher level. Over the past 10 years, I ran all kinds of experiments and catalysis tests on Meowsy. One of the experiments went wrong. I passed out in the explosion. But at that exact moment, I felt my consciousness was sucked into time itself. It felt like I traveled through the 93 billion light-year universe and arrived at the very beginning of everything. I saw a set of numbers. I had no idea what that was, or what the number 24 stood for, but the shock I felt at that moment made my resolve to develop Meowsy technology extremely unshakable. And then I saw you. As he said that, Huo Linzong slowly turned around. I saw you found the Meowsy Research Center buried deep underground. I know you are from the future. I felt a chill run up from the soles of my feet. My eyes widened slightly. So, you set the access permission for me 100 years ago, but I just realized a problem right now. The 3D projection in front of me doesn't seem to have an interactive function. All of this is just a pre-recorded video by Huo Linzong. When I woke up and told people how magical Meowsy is, no fucking person believed me at all. Not even my good friend, Song Dai from the Area 53 Gene Research Institute. Projections appeared on both sides again at this moment. All the staff in the institute were rushing around. Everyone was packing up everything they could take with them. I watched those scenes. The timestamp was exactly the great human migration that happened before. The Meowsy Research Center actually had no way out already. Even if we moved to another planet, our fate would be either being annexed or disbanded. But I made a bet with those rivals of mine. The man suddenly smiled. I said, as long as I, Huo Linzong, haven't figured out Meowsy, I won't fucking leave the Meowsy Research Center for a single day. Huo Linzong's 3D projection stopped walking at this moment. He stood in front of an office door. The nameplate of the office was clearly visible. Professor Huo Linzong. My expression turned a bit more serious. Professor Huo Linzong's real body is right behind this door. I took a deep breath. I slowly pushed open the office door in front of me. On the projection, Huo Linzong pushed the door open from his own timeline. I can see the future you, but I don't know how many years later you will find this place. Can you see the future me now? I stood at the door, looking at this long-abandoned office that had been deserted for years, and on the swivel chair behind the desk sat a set of human bones. Now you can keep discussing with the future me. I believe that one day in the future, Miaozi technology will shock the entire universe. The projected Huo Linzong walked around the desk and slowly sat down on the swivel chair. Then his figure slowly faded away, leaving only that set of bones behind. I couldn't come to my senses for a long time. The entire Miaozi Research Center had already been evacuated, only leaving behind a stubborn chief scientist. I slowly walked around the desk. I found that between the skeleton's two hands held a unique music box. There was a tiny play button at the bottom of the music box. I pressed it gently. Hello, friend from the future. I failed. I tried 666 different solutions, but none of them could activate the power of Miaozi. I felt a kind of restriction. It seemed like some kind of advanced civilization out there had blocked the development of Miaozi technology. I used the communication device and shared this idea with the Human Science Alliance, but they doubted me all over again. I heard them whispering, "That delusional lunatic is studying a piece of trash." I was wrong. Maybe muons are just a type of particle with zero potential. Friend from the future, can you do me one last favor? If you get the chance, take this tiny music box and give it to my children and descendants. There's nothing special about this music box. It only holds several stable, yet meaningless, muons that are like tiny fireflies, giving off faint little glows. That's when I noticed 5 tree branch-like transistors inside the music box. Inside the transistors, a mass was floating quietly, of blue particles that looked like tiny stars. My eyes slowly widened. My heart started racing unconsciously. This is the legendary muon. Similar tech artifact detected. Start synthesizing simplified. Version of strong magnetic field cage. A stable mass of muons is sealed inside. Muon technology falls under microscopic particle energy. It's a level 4 civilization technology. Some level 4 civilizations have blocked this technology. My pupils constricted. Technology blockade. It actually exists. Professor Huo's deduction was correct. It's not garbage. Start synthesis. Break through the technology blockade. Synthesis successful. Muon fusion catalytic reactor prototype. After *2 activates, muons will be supplemented via shuttling, so that nuclear fusion occurs at room temperature. Muons are released after fusion. It catalyzes cyclically to produce controllable nuclear energy. Disadvantages of this device. Muons have roughly a 1 in 50 chance of sticking to alpha particles and no longer participating in the reaction. This is called the alpha adhesion problem. Although this device has an error rate, it can still take the form of a handheld device and release energy equivalent to 500 tons of TNT. In the initial R&D phase, this device's codename is Creator's Gaze. Controllable muon fusion energy at room temperature. This must be the breakthrough Professor Huo has been looking for. I looked at the device in my hand. Its appearance is just like a silver alloy. Flashlight made of the material. What does 500 tons of TNT equivalent mean? In the old era, the little boy bomb dropped on Hiroshima had a yield of about 15,000 tons of TNT equivalent. The device in my hand is equal to 1/30 of little boy. Even though it's only 1/30, it's just a handheld prototype. That's extremely terrifying. My mind was racing. How could muons have no potential? Keep synthesizing. Break through the technology blockade again. Synthesis successful. First generation muon fusion catalytic reactor. Fully upgraded technology. Eliminated the alpha adhesion probability. Overall more stable. When not in activated state, it won't produce any energy fluctuations. Undetectable by civilizations below level 3. Can in an instant release energy equivalent to 1,010 tons of TNT. This device's codename is Creation. Story of the Lord's Wrath. This equipment is part of the muon technology series and is a very primitive product. Its muon energy utilization rate is less than $110,000. I gripped the device in my hand that looks like a crystal hilt. A weird sense of responsibility and power surged in my chest. Professor Huo, your persistence wasn't a joke. One day I'll make the scene in your dream come true. I returned to the entrance of the Muon Research Center. The alloy gate in front of me was still closed. Snarling and scratching sounds from killer rats came from outside. My face was cold and stern. I operated the access control system from inside. The alloy gate slowly opened. Sharp screeches rang out. Countless killer rats lunged at me with their jaws wide open. At that moment, I slightly tightened my grip on the Muon catalytic reactor in standby mode. As I slid my finger, a progress bar appeared on the handle. When the progress reached just 10%, an odd energy fluctuation, like a semi-transparent ripple, spread out in an instant. At that moment, all the killer rats arched their backs, their fur standing on end. They didn't understand what was happening. But a huge sense of crisis instantly extinguished their bloodlust and madness. I pushed the progress bar to 30%. Energy ripples were released again. The terrifying spatial resonance invisibly doubled in intensity. At this moment, the extreme warriors, the power armor picked up that low-frequency sound wave again. That's countless strategist rats secretly giving orders. A huge commotion broke out among the rat horde. Lots of killer rats stood upright and trampled on each other. They stacked up to form a huge ladder. The rest of the killer rats used all 4 limbs and scrambled quickly toward the ground via the rat ladder. They were panicking and terrified, scrambling to escape for their lives. Finally, the entire rat ladder also retreated back underground. Looking at the empty surroundings, I chuckled softly. I swiped my finger backward. The standby glow from the Mon catalyst slowly faded out. The killer rat strategist's decision was the right one. If they don't run, their whole clan gets wiped out. Turbine jet power shoes activated. Hanzai and I slowly rose high into the air. As expected, there wasn't a single killer rat left on the ground. My bro here is so freaking awesome. Got a free flight today. Crow was piloting the ground effect vehicle. While sneaking glances at me, this bro of mine went deep into the Kyoto hinterland and stayed there for a full 40 minutes and came out totally unscathed. Dude's a total badass. If you ever need my help in the future, just say the word. Crow turned around and said with a grin, I'm super reliable, you know. We went back to District 24 where we live. I saw it from far away. A huge transport starship was hovering in midair, dumping tens of thousands of tons of tech waste. I squinted at the sky and suddenly remembered that a day ago, Arrow brought his goons to rob my resources and even tried to kill me. Anzai, this grudge has been sitting overnight. A cold glint flashed across my eyes. I slowly walked toward that mountain of garbage. Countless pieces of tech waste fell from the sky. Lots of scavengers risked getting crushed into pulp by large trash and rushed straight up the garbage mountain. A scavenger around 30 years old's eyes lit up. He found an intact JS 34nm chip. This thing can sell for 110 credits. He saw no one around, so he quietly put the chip in his mouth and hid it against the side of his teeth. They were forced by Eero. All valuable items they find have to be handed over. A sudden piercing sound rang out. The scavenger looked down in terror. He saw a sharp mechanical tentacle had pierced through his chest. The tall, bulky Arrow walked up to the scavenger. A look of indifference and coldness crossed his face. You dare pull petty tricks in front of Lord Zhu? Arrow pried open the scavenger's mouth, took out the JS 34nm chip, then kicked the scavenger into the garbage abyss. He tossed the chip in his hand to weigh it. Arrow slowly turned around, bowed toward a huge white tent and said, Lord Zhu, our haul is really great today. Looks like today's your lucky day. Just then, a teen in a blue cape and a robot slowly climbed up to the top of the garbage mountain along the ridge, looking down at them from above. Who's that dumbass? Arrow tilted his head back and squinted. Not even a missile could kill him. And he even got a new robot. Don't act recklessly. A voice with a heavy nasal tone came from the white tent. This kid is probably the one who took out Hound from Bar Street. Lord Zhu, Arrow said confusedly. This kid doesn't even have any cybernetic modifications on him. Is he relying on that brand new robot? The tent flap was lifted by 2 mechanical tentacles. A weird, huge figure slowly walked out from inside. Kid, you've got skills. Join me. I'm looking for capable people right now. Hey, little trash bug. You hear that? Lord Zhu is willing to give you a chance. Arrow rolled his eyes and had an idea. Looked at me and said, Lord Zhu is equipped with the B-133 Battle Spider. Lord Zhu is the strongest fighter in District B-24 right now. Even the Scavenger Alliance can't do anything to him. Just a lousy broken spider. And he's the strongest? I frowned as I looked at the ugly Lord Zhu. I said, no wonder you've been acting so reckless lately, Arrow. You found a pig as your backer, huh? Huh. The fat on Lord Zhu's face twitched, and he said smugly, Kid, you have no idea what real combat power is, or how valuable my set of pig legs is. Since you've got some skills, I'll give you one last chance. All the valuable trash you find in the future gets handed over to me. I'll give you a 10% cut." As he said that, one of the giant fat man's mechanical tentacles snaked out, snatched the JS-34 chip from Arrow's hand, then opened the pouch at his waist, and put the chip inside. My gaze sharpened, because inside Lord Ju's pouch, I saw the head of a small mechanical dog. That was Xiao Xiong's mechanical dog. My pupils constricted sharply. Where'd this robot dog come from? I said it was a gift from an admirer. You believe that? Lord Ju let out a mocking sneer. Kid, if you want something, you gotta snatch it. That's the only way to survive on this garbage planet. Ailo also sneered contemptuously right after. He mumbled, "What a shame. That woman was really good in bed. I used to visit her all the time. Task. Good thing there's still that little girl. Wait a couple more years and she'll be ready." Just then I heard a faint noise behind me. I turned around slowly. I saw Xiao Qiong had also climbed to the top of the garbage mountain. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were red and puffy. They killed Mom. Looking at Xiao Qiong's weak, helpless figure, rage slowly began to build up in my chest. I turned around and stared straight at Lord Zhu. The Miaozi catalyst entered standby mode. I gripped it so tight it creaked. At the same time, my thumb slid slowly across the progress bar inch by inch. Inside that crystal-like device, a blue light gradually started to shine, getting brighter and brighter. "What, you want to fight me? You ungrateful little shit." The smile finally vanished from Lord Zhu's face. "You actually think those garbage weapons you picked up can hurt me? Idiot." This scene was exactly what Aluo wanted. He grinned viciously at Lord Zhu. "I've hated this little prick for ages. Why even bother recruiting him? Just kill him already." "Die!" Killing intent flashed in the giant fat man's eyes. 10 mechanical tentacles shot up abruptly. Their sharp tips crossed over a dozen meters of distance, stabbing towards me from all directions. The rage in my chest exploded right at that moment. In an instant, the Miaozi Catalyst Gen 1's energy bar hit 100%. Inside that hilt-like device, a blinding blue light burst out immediately. Huge energy surge detected. User has a chance of taking recoil damage. In a split second, extreme warrior power armor covered my arm. The Miaozi Catalyst Gen 1 shot out a sky-high blue beam instantly. It sliced through the dim sky like a giant heavenly sword. The recoil force in my hand was as heavy as a mountain, but the rage in my heart overpowered everything. Amidst my furious roar, I lifted the weapon in my hand high up and swung it down hard. The blue beam in my hand swung into a huge arc, like a scythe cutting through the atmosphere, slashing towards the ground. Lord Zhu saw clearly. His mechanical tentacles turned bright red instantly, then started melting like hot wax. Right after, it was like a star had landed on the ground. A massive burst of light erupted. Everyone's vision went blank for a moment. When the blinding light faded, Lord Zhu and Elo had been vaporized without a trace. All that was left was a huge gully several kilometers long. Xiao Qiong was standing behind me, shocked by the scene in front of her. Her eyes were wide open. Tears were pooling in her eyes. She looked dazed. A faint noise came from behind suddenly. I saw that on the surrounding garbage hills. Over a dozen of Hina's trembling underlings were standing there. "I'll give you guys a chance. Work for me." My voice was a bit deep. That last strike didn't kill everyone on purpose. I left these people a way out. The dozen underlings froze for a second first, then felt like they'd been given a reprieve. "Brother Li, from now on, you're our boss. If you tell us to go east, we won't dare go west." I tilted my head back slightly. "From now on, for all the junk you collect, I'll pay you 30% of its original value. As your payment." 30%? Is that for real? The scavenger underling's eyes lit up. "Wait, Brother Li said he's buying it from us?" "That's right. I'm starting a brand new business. I'll buy junk from all scavengers, for all tech items of the same model. The more you bring, the higher the unit price." The sun set. I went back to my shack. Inside the shack, Xiao Qiong was curled up, covered with a tattered red blanket, fast asleep. Up until now, Mo has been gone for 24 hours. We should get news soon. My eyes flickered. I hope nothing goes wrong. "Chengji, is this your place?" A pleasant, melodic voice suddenly sounded. I saw Hina in a red dress, had arrived in front of my shack. "Have you seen any high-level gene holders arrive here?" Hina cracked a faint smile, but her vibe was still pretty distant and aloof. In my mind, I immediately flashed back to that night, when Hina acted like a total slut. The appreciative gaze I used to have for her vanished completely. "There are no high genome people here." Hina tilted her head, smiled and asked, "If you see him, Can you notify me as soon as possible? I have lots of research topics to discuss with high genome people. I nodded calmly and watched Hina turn around and leave. I knew better than anyone what those so-called research topics Hina mentioned really were. It was dead silent in the dead of night. Inside the communicator I used exclusively to contact Mo, a notification sound suddenly rang out. Wait, we got a lead? My eyes lit up immediately. I walked outside my shack right away, looked up at the dim, starry sky, only to see a couple of extremely faint points of light. They weren't aircraft. Half a minute later, 4 black boxes the size of shoeboxes landed right in front of me. These were some kind of small transport cases, similar to regular delivery packages. After confirming my identity, the boxes slowly opened up, revealing glass vials filled with black reagents inside. They were special-purpose test tubes. Mo's voice came through the communicator. These black ones are failed gene catalyst reagents. Your money was only enough to buy 16.6 of them. Since this is our first collaboration, I rounded it up to 17 for you. As the STC light scanned across them, the reagent information popped up right in front of me. Gene reagent with large amounts of impurities, derived from outdated CRISPR anti-alcohol technology, guides anti-alcohol proteins via RNA to cut specific DNA sequences, basically equivalent to DNA destruction. The reagent has lethal level side effects. Gene optimization success rate is less than 0.0035%. I felt my heart thumping wildly in my chest. Mo, you are so fucking unreliable. As someone who's gonna die soon from taking low-quality reagents, like me, I really don't get what you're so excited about. Moo, have you ever heard of high-entropy alloy? I exhaled shakily, trying hard to calm my mood down. Of course I have. It's an extremely precious alloy with random atomic arrangement. Do you want to buy high-entropy alloy? With all due respect, you can't afford its sky-high price right now. Our deal is already completed. As a businessman, time is money for me. Right now, each second of my time is worth roughly 2,000 credits. I need to hang up the call now. Mo's voice was rational and calm. I have 4 pieces. I spoke up suddenly. Mo paused for a moment. 4 pieces of what? I said again. I weighed them before. They're around 410 grams total. Mo's tone rose a little. 4 pieces of what? I said in a calm voice. I can sell them to you. Mo took a slow, deep breath. 4 pieces of what? I said word for word. High-entropy alloy. The other end of the communicator went dead silent for 30 whole seconds. Mo, isn't your time worth 2,000 credits per second? Why aren't you talking Chengqi before I fucking get there? Don't you fucking drink any of those gene reagents? Forget it, I'll send you the deposit first. Right at that moment, I received a 10 million credit transfer from Mo. My heart was trembling. 10 million? And that's just the deposit. Soon another transport box fell from the sky. After the box opened, there was a tiny scale inside. I took out the 4 pieces of high-entropy alloy. One end of the scale emitted a scanning beam of light. High-purity, high-entropy alloy, 410.23 grams. Total value, 34 star 553 200 star credits. Even though I was mentally prepared for this, when I saw the final selling price, my heart almost skipped a beat. I immediately sent Mo a shopping list. B343 robot, Extreme Warrior exoskeleton, Muse-related technology, etc. Once I get all these items, my strength will improve by a huge margin again. Unfortunately, Mo cut me off mid-sentence. You know why I didn't come to see you in person? Because just yesterday, this shithole Earth was completely locked down. A lot of detection devices are deployed outside Earth right now. Those black transport boxes are made of special materials. They can barely pass through the detection signals. If the volume is any larger, or if we send them too frequently, they will run the risk of getting seized. I froze, then said, then exchange all the money for gene catalyst reagents. Same as the last order. The shittier the quality, the better. The more, the better. After carefully taking out the gene catalytic agent, my gaze accidentally landed on those black shipping cases. Similar tech device detected. Ultra-compact shipping case. Made of high molecular biopolymer material. Built-in biofuel engine. Due to its material properties, thermal principles, and other factors, it can block signals from most detectors. It's totally reasonable to get free packaging when you buy stuff, right? Right after that, I glanced at the black scale inside one of the cases. Getting a free tiny scale isn't too much, right? I don't need to ask Mo for permission for this tiny thing, do I? I took out the tiny scale right away, then stuffed 4 pieces of high-grade commercial alloy, all into the same case. The second I closed the case, the bottom of every single case, emitted a faint blue bioflame. Getting ready to lift off, I gave a signal to the poised Hanzai. He pounced like a hungry tiger. At the 4 empty cases, "Where do you think you're going, little guys?" The only black case holding the high-grade commercial alloy flew back all alone. The other 4 were pinned down by Hanzai, wriggling stubbornly. Right at that moment, a set of footsteps came from far away. When I saw their faces clearly, I relaxed my brows a little. The people who came were the ones I sent earlier to collect tech trash, the scavenger underlings. They also brought a piece of news with them. In 4 hours, a gray storm will sweep through this area. Right now, Garbage Earth has lost its ability to regulate the climate. Almost every year, terrifying level 12 storms sweep across half the planet since they carry tons of metal dust. The storm winds appear gray, which is how they got the name Gray Storm. Every time a gray storm hits, large numbers of scavengers lose their lives. I used to be all alone. I could just hide in any crack I found. But now I've got a lot of property to take care of, so I need to find a safe place to store all my belongings. Whether it's hiding from gray storms, radiation, or toxic gas, the most suitable place is underground. I looked at the scavenger underlings and the pile of tech trash they brought. I quickly found what I needed: small geological detector, drill bit made of titanium alloy, 240 horsepower, fitted with multiple sensors, can drill 30 to 50 meters underground. Battery life, 45 minutes. Underground drilling function is already damaged. Expanding underground space is exactly what I need. Start synthesis. Breakdown into raw materials. Target model updating. Intelligent mole geological detector. It's orange, and even though it's called a mole, this device is way bigger than a real mole. Start synthesizing large-scale engineering underground mining vehicle. ×2, this time. The thing that appeared in front of me was already a truck-sized device. My eyes flickered with excitement. I'm getting closer and closer to what I want. Start synthesizing codenamed Earth Dragon Underground Expansion Unit. This device is an expandable carrier. On top of its excellent drilling capabilities, it can expand into a 120 square meter underground. Construction Command Center. Among interstellar prospecting teams, it's called the Earth Dragon King. This is the one. I immediately used the remote control panel to set the engineering task 100 meters underground. Dig out an expandable space of 200 square meters. Based on my requirements, estimated drilling time is around 40 minutes, and the gray storm will arrive in 3 hours and 50 minutes. That's more than enough time. While waiting, I looked at the other tech trash again. I quickly found 4 abandoned auxiliary chips. Start synthesizing Mars Electronic Assistant. ×2, the original design purpose is still to optimize a series of electronic control products and switch to wireless electromagnetic field access, replacing the outdated physical connection method, but its downside is still very obvious. Extremely low compatibility rate. Useless, I tilted my head. STC emitted a blue scanning beam. Continue synthesis. Molin Mars version superconducting electronic assistant. On the distant twin Earth, there was a breakthrough in electronic assistant technology. The addition of superconducting metal made this device no longer a useless gadget. Its external form and function were transformed, far surpassing other electronic devices. It uses superconducting metal to achieve barrier-free signal interaction. This technology comes from a level 1.9 technological civilization. I looked at the name of the new equipment. A little stunned. Who is Molin Mars? Is he a descendant of Dr. Mars? What's a twin Earth anyway? He's Mars from the Molin galaxy. The universe is vast, millions of light years away. There are also twin solar systems and twin Earths, and a twin Mars. The same geographical environment creates the same cause and effect world. You can think of these as parallel universes in the same dimension. There's actually such a setting. I was a little surprised. That is to say, the technologies that Mars failed to develop were achieved by the parallel Mars. This tiny STC is so damn powerful. Technologies we can't develop in our universe. We actually get them from the parallel universe. Right at this moment, the Earth Dragon King suddenly sent some bad data feedback. What's going on? Why did the drilling time change to 7 hours? After checking the data carefully, I found out the Earth Dragon King was at 36 meters deep when it ran into a huge sedimentary layer of metal waste. And after years of compression, the metal here has a very high density. 7 hours. We're totally screwed, aren't we? Suddenly, I accidentally glanced at the first-gen muon catalysis device on my waist. A light bulb went off in my head right away. I immediately took out the Morin Mars version of the superconducting electronic assistant, just to test it out. I slowly pressed the two devices together. The black plastic-like chip fit perfectly onto the body of the first-gen muon device. It looked like an extra layer of black leather on a sword hilt. A tiny red interface was projected out. Muon fission reactor remaining energy, 70%. Performance optimization in progress. Original plan, release all muon fission energy in one burst. Causes linear burning over a range of about 7 kilometers and deals massive destructive damage. Optimized plan. Control the muon energy release method. Project a thin energy beam and store energy at the tip of the beam. When the beam penetrates to a specific position, control the energy to generate ultra-high temperature, causing spherical burning with a diameter of 5,000 square meters. My eyes got wider and wider as I watched. This optimized muon catalysis device is perfect for digging, isn't it? 5 minutes after the Earth Dragon King returned, I stood in front of the drilling hole it left behind. I turned the power of the muon catalysis reactor to 50%. Through the superconducting electronic assistant, I selected the second energy release plan. Fuzz story, the muon catalysis device exited standby mode and released a blue beam as thin as a hair, which went straight into the dark drilling hole and vanished in a flash. The next second, a huge cloud of white steam carrying terrifying heat waves erupted from the drilling hole. In an instant, the Extreme Warrior Armor's emergency response protocol activated and took control and launched my body to one side. When the steam cleared, a smooth, sloping downward passage appeared in front of me. Waves of heat drifted out from the hole. Hands I carried over 2 half-meter thick new steel plates and built a huge sliding rail at the entrance of the hole. Then found lots of camouflage waste and welded it onto the door. After the Earth Dragon King confirmed the inside was safe, I followed Hanzai inside. The shallow ground was full of sand and metal. After they melted and cooled down, they formed a gorgeous glass corridor. When I got to about 1,000 meters underground, the space in front of me suddenly opened up. It was a spherical space with a diameter of about 2 kilometers. The Earth Dragon King, which had come in earlier to scout the path, had already unfolded its underground expansion module in the center and turned it into a metal house of about 120 square meters. It was also continuously producing oxygen and adjusting the internal temperature. There was also a floating light hanging at the top, like the first star in a tiny universe. I nodded happily as if I'd found a treasure. This is truly a magic tool for underground survival. Less than 2 hours left before the dust storm arrives. Next, we need to start moving. Back on the ground, I looked at my scattered belongings. Whether it's for moving or future transport, it's better to have a convenient carrying tool. So my gaze fell on the 4 biomaterial transport boxes, gifted to me by Mo. Identical technological creations detected. Start synthesis. 2 biomaterial transport containers. Internal volume 33 cubic meters. Built-in biomaterial engine. Capable of autonomous navigation. Maximum navigation range 450 kilometers. Built-in microbial inhibition system. Molecular activity reduction system. For transporting fresh goods. Can extend the freshness preservation period by 150 to 230 times. It's mostly used for food transport, but that's not enough. Continue synthesis. K443 integrated transport platform. Its appearance can be mechanically deformed and its volume is adjustable. Internal volume 10 to 210 cubic meters. Built-in biomaterial engine. Capable of autonomous navigation. Maximum navigation range 2,050 kilometers. Freshness preservation period extended by 230 to 500 times. Built-in mechanical lifting arm, handling arm. It is equipped with a visual reflection system on the exterior to achieve optical invisibility. Its nickname is Iron Mom. It can adjust its volume, automatic loading and unloading. Plus it has the invisibility function. This is literally the ultimate transport tool. Wait, what does the nickname Iron Mom mean though? After I finished setting the commands, the hatch of the huge black container in front of me slowly opened. Precision robotic arms flipped out and started sorting my belongings one by one. 30 minutes later, everything was ready. I sat in the underground shelter. It's almost time. The dust storm should have arrived. On the ground surface, a pitch black wall stretched from the ground all the way to the sky, with a strong sense of oppression, moving towards B-43 at an alarming speed. Amid the rumbling minor storm, there were also intense flashes of lightning mixed in. It looked like divine punishment from the sky, igniting patches of bright red flames. Not far away, a hundreds-of-ton starship wreck was swept into the sky by the fierce wind, exposing a cave hidden beneath the ground. Several scavengers hiding inside immediately turned pale with shock. Before they could react, their bodies were instantly swept into the sky, got struck by lightning, and turned to ash in the blink of an eye. While inside the underground shelter, it was completely peaceful and quiet. Xiaoqiong was sleeping sweetly in Hanzai's arms. I sat in front of the expanded housing unit, holding a cup of hot tea, looking at the 17 failed black market gene potions lined up neatly on the ground. After finishing this cup of tea, I will start my journey of counterattack and get rid of the gene-based contempt chain forever. Gene optimization potions have a fatality rate as high as 99%, but they can sell for as high as 300,000 on the black market. That's because in today's human civilization, genes represent everything. The status gap they bring is even comparable to the ancient Indian caste system. Although I have inferior genes, I master the technology of advanced civilizations, the synthesizer. As long as I have enough low-grade gene potions, I can synthesize a perfect gene potion with a 100% success rate. There are 17 gene potions full of impurities. They are failed black market gene potions. Their gene optimization success rate is less than 0.0035%. Potions of this grade aren't even fit for dogs to drink. My eyes flickered slightly. Start synthesis. High-quality haze gene potion. Success rate 8%. CRISPR-9 technology upgrade plan. Greatly reduces destructiveness. It has the effect of optimizing and repairing human genes. Gene optimization success rate 11.23%. The upgrade direction is exactly as expected. The gene optimization success rate has increased by more than 3,000 times. Continue synthesis. Break down into raw materials. Synthesis successful. Top grade haze gene potion. Success rate 4%. Inside the Scavengers Association bunker, a hunched old figure sat in the main seat. The dust storm is raging outside. The entire bunker was shaking violently. But the old man was unhurried and opened a delicate metal box. Everyone present widened their eyes. Their breathing became rapid, but no one dared to make a sound. Top-grade haze gene potion. The old man in the main seat spoke in a hoarse voice. Our alliance saved up wealth for a whole 10 years and used all kinds of channels just to exchange for this one potion. I'm old. Someone has to take over as the president of the Scavengers Alliance. My eldest daughter, Hong Yun, this potion is yours. A slim figure in a gray cloak slowly walked out from the crowd. Her face is somewhat similar to Hina's, but her appearance is far more outstanding than Hina's. All core members of the Scavengers Alliance know. The president has 2 daughters. The eldest daughter is named Hong Yun. The youngest daughter is named Hina. Both are exceptional special-grade gene users. President Ms. Hong Yun is already a level 1 gene user. Why would such a precious potion not be distributed to other senior management? If we do that, our overall strength will also get a balanced improvement. The old man in the main seat spoke in a low voice. I received a notice. Within the next 48 hours, a Galaxy Alliance combat team will arrive on Earth. They are here to carry out some kind of secret mission. This is a precious opportunity. Maybe we can go through this team to apply for some support from the Galaxy Alliance. To make this happen, we need at least one representative who can attract enough attention from them. Shihina nibbles her lower lip. Dad, I'm also a first-class gene carrier. The old man in the main seat just glances at Hina coldly. I know that perfectly well. Even if your gene gets upgraded, you still don't have enough negotiation skills. Hong Yun, the success rate of this special potion is as high as 23%. That's already an astonishing rate. What's more, even if it fails, the side effects won't kill you. After a short pause, the old man lifts his head again and says seriously, the future of the Scavenger Alliance and the fate of hundreds of thousands of scavengers on Earth are all counting on you. Hong Yun takes a deep breath. A look of solemnity flashes in her beautiful, noble eyes. She takes a step forward and walks slowly ahead. Her sister Hannah holds her hand from behind, with deep worry in her eyes. Earlier, Dad didn't explicitly say the consequences of failing the black market potion, but everyone knows. The result is most likely genetic defect, turning you into a flawed human, which basically means disability. Don't worry, Hannah. Hong Yun gives a comforting smile. Then she lifts her determined face. I will definitely succeed. Meanwhile, looking at the top-tier black market gene potion in my hand, I shake my head. Only 23% success rate? It's true that failure leads to disability. Total trash. Let's keep synthesizing. The Valent gene potion. Made by Valent, the black market pharmacist from City 2. He's the legendary genius pharmacist. Based on the Christmas 9 formula, he independently created a set of gene sequencing technology. He fully applied this technology to gene modification potions, pushing the success rate of his potions to 90.8%, with barely any side effects. This figure already crushes that of the Galactic Science Association, but this type of potion is already extremely rare. After making 13 exclusive potions, Valent vanished off the face of the Earth. Rumor has it, he was most likely recruited by the Galactic Science Association, or kidnapped by some dark forces. A 90.8% success rate. That's an insanely high rate. Gene-level evolution is always a low probability event, but Valent seemed to have it completely figured out. I can synthesize one last time right now. If I hesitate even a little, it's a disrespect to STC. Keep synthesizing the Valent Fantasy Potion. Gene evolution success rate, 99.9%. Its technology copies and amplifies original high-quality gene fragments, so depending on different constitutions, the final result of gene optimization varies. You might get a cross-level upgrade, or no obvious change at all. The core of this technology can copy specific gene fragments via PCR polymerase chain reaction technology to amplify specific genes in large quantities. It can continuously copy the dominant fragments in human genes and overlay them to cover inferior genes. This potion is a concept that existed in the notes of genius pharmacist Valent. It's his ultimate vision for his own technology. But before Valent disappeared, he never turned this vision into reality. I nod slightly, a little shocked. SCT really covers every single field. They even turned a concept from someone's notes into reality. As for the effect of this gene potion, to put it simply, different talents lead to different effects. If all my gene fragments are total trash, then drinking this potion will still leave me useless. It's basically a blind box. I don't hesitate any longer. I lift that Valent Fantasy Potion, tilt my head back and chug it all down. But after a while, I only feel a burning sensation in my throat, like I just drank a shot of strong liquor. But other than that, I don't feel anything else. I tilt my head and try to feel carefully. Still nothing. No way, no freaking way. Am I actually a total fucking loser? What else in the world is scarier than suddenly finding out you're useless? But the next second, something even scarier happens. I suddenly spit a mouthful of blood into the air. My eyes roll back, and I fall straight to the ground. I turned into a dead loser. Thought that's the end? I open my eyes again. I look at the colorful, beautiful spherical ceiling in front of me. My mind goes totally blank. I just passed out, right? It must be Hanzai who saved me. Hanzai is such a reliable buddy, but when I struggle to sit up, I find a white cloth covering my body. Under me are piled firewood and worn-out diesel barrels. Hanzai and Little Bear are wearing school uniforms made of white plastic sheets, squatting not far away sobbing. Chungchie, you're really dead this time. You drank some stupid potion and killed yourself. That's so damn crazy. My face was twisted with rage. They work surprisingly fast. They're already about to cremate me. Click! I saw Hanzi not even glance back, and hit the ignition switch right next to him. Electricity sparked along the entire circuit. Boom, and lit the diesel under me. Holy shit! A surge of panic exploded from the back of my mind and struck my nerves like a bolt of lightning. In a matter of milliseconds, my body moved like a gust of swift wind and darted 7 or 8 meters sideways in an instant. What the hell just happened? Did I just turn into a bolt of lightning? I stared at my own hands in disbelief. Is this the Extreme Warrior armor? Activating its emergency avoidance protocol. The next second, I saw something totally shocking. That double-crosser Hanzi took off his own Extreme Warrior armor and set it down not far away. Wait, my eyes widened again. I wasn't wearing any armor. Don't get mad at us, all right? You were out cold for 48 whole hours, man! Hansa scratched his metal head with his metal finger. Is that your excuse for trying to cremate me? I sighed helplessly. Xiaoxiong seemed to see something unbelievable, staring at my face. Your eyes look different, you know? Hansa got the idea right away, and quickly found a piece of smooth metal to use as a mirror. I stared at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes suddenly went wide. In both of my pupils, there was a faint blue ring glowing. In today's society, this represents status. It represents respect. It means I've gone from being a normal human to a level 1 gene wielder. A level 1 gene wielder is defined as having overall excellent genes, with no defects whatsoever. Their intelligence, physical health, personality, and other traits are all above average. They're basically the cream of the crop among humans. Then what's up with my physical fitness? I was a little confused and blinked subconsciously. That blink was no small thing. Inside my head, scenes started flashing through like lightning all of a sudden. It was something floating in the void, a quietly rotating DNA double helix. Certain parts of that DNA kept breaking apart and rearranging. When I opened my eyes again, my whole body froze completely. My pupils in the mirror actually had an extra bright blue ring. I skipped levels and became a D-class gene wielder. So-called D-class gene wielders have outstanding talents in specific areas. For example, like having deep comprehension ability in a certain academic field. Normally speaking, D-class gene wielders are also called elite gene wielders. D-class gene wielders can have the kind of speed I just showed. I was a little confused. It was right at this very moment. Scenes flashed through my head like lightning again. 1 minute later, my vision gradually cleared up. I felt like I'd been struck by lightning again. In the mirror, a third ring appeared inside my pupils. I skipped 3 whole levels and became a C-class gene wielder. C-class genes are also called exceptional genes. Starting from this rank, the gene carrier's physical fitness breaks through DNA limitations and begins to undergo a certain transformation. For example, gaining greater strength, speed, stamina, and agility. No wonder I could pull off that move. It's all because of the traits of C-class genes. Right at this moment, the communicator used exclusively to contact the merchant Mo transmitted Mo's voice. Chengqi, get ready to receive the goods. Converted based on the value of high-grade commercial alloy. This time I got you 82 units. Defective black market gene potions. My eyes lit up immediately. If I synthesize all 82 of these, how overpowered am I going to be? Mo's voice was still calm. My 20 biotech crates have already entered Earth's atmosphere. There seems to be a huge storm on Earth. You better hurry out to pick up the delivery. I'd been passed out for 48 hours, but the ash storm on the ground should still be going on. To make sure Mo's delivery doesn't get lost, I had to hurry. I took a few big steps and walked up to the Extreme Warrior armor. The armor wrapped around my body like liquid in an instant. User gene sequence upgrade detected. Overall core performance of the armor increased by 284% and is now approaching performance limit. Yes, yes, yes! Sure enough, in the minds of strong people, the whole world feels so gentle. Air currents spread out under my feet. My body lifts into the air. Head straight for the exit of the underground shelter. Visibility on the ground is super low right now, but the recon system of the Extreme Warrior armor quickly locks onto 20 light dots in the distant sky. Battered by the ash storm, a few of the crates are about to collide mid-air. They're very likely to crash. My expression shifts a little. I bend my legs slightly. I go all out, sprint toward the predicted landing spot of the crates. The next second, I turn into a blurry streak of shadow. Since I didn't get ready beforehand, my brain gets dizzy from the inertia. A notification beeps suddenly from the Extreme Warrior armor. User's speed is infinitely approaching the armor's upper limit, and there may be unmeasurable anomalies occurring. I freeze for a second. What this means is, my speed has already exceeded the armor's maximum limit. My activated genes seem to have mainly boosted my speed. By now, I've rushed right under the shipping crates. So I bend my legs again, fighting against the biting cold wind. Leap violently dozens of meters into the air. Mid-air, I catch 3 shipping crates with pinpoint accuracy. Then I land back on the ground. After setting the crates down carefully, I leap up once more. Do the same to catch the other shipping crates. But on my final jump, I spot a weird scene on the ground far away. Through the thick metallic dust, something is crawling on the ground. It looks like half a human. To be exact, a quarter of a human. All he has left is a head, and one arm attached to half a shoulder. But when I try to get a clearer look, that quarter human suddenly disappears, like it was never there at all. I hesitate for a split second. I still head straight back to the underground shelter. I've got so many valuable things on me right now. I can't let curiosity get the better of me right now. Inside the underground shelter, 82 failed black market gene potions are neatly lined up on the floor. I'm already a C-class gene user. My arms are trembling slightly. I swallow hard. Start synthesizing and breaking down. Basic unit synthesis successful. 41x high-quality black market gene potions. Same raw materials. Follow the same synthesis path. Continue synthesizing and breaking down. Basic unit synthesis successful. Premium black market gene potion. 20x breakdown. Basic unit synthesis successful. Valent gene potion. 10x breakdown. Basic unit synthesis successful. Valent Fantasy Potion. X. My movements pause for a second. Last time I was synthesizing. Right up to this step, this is the potion that let me evolve 3 times in a row and become a C-class gene user. If I keep synthesizing, what will I get? Will I get promoted to the legendary S-class gene level? Right now, my excitement is going through the roof. Start synthesizing the Sprout of Life gene sequence. 2x Liberation Potions. Technology sourced from level 5 plant civilization. It has a certain chance to completely alter the fundamental structure of carbon-based life forms. Turn carbon-based life forms into an entirely new gene sequence. Like silicon-based life forms, I suck in a sharp breath. Silicon-based life forms. This potion is way beyond human understanding of gene enhancement. It's basically rewriting all the rules. Its goal is to make humans evolve into silicon-based life forms. It jumps across an entire sequence. I can barely believe it. You can actually do that. But what's a plant civilization anyway? There's more than just technological civilizations in the universe. There are other types too. Plant civilization. Is it a society made up of tree people? Right at this moment, the STC notes flip to the next page. Another line of text appears. Special note. Success rate of this gene sequence liberation potion is only 7.7%. If liberation fails, the user's original genes will also suffer irreversible damage, leading directly to gene dissolution, instant death. If liberation succeeds, the user will transform into a brand new elemental base, but due to surrounding environmental factors, the user may not be able to breathe properly, or may not be able to convert internal energy. Eventually, the life cycle will be fatally damaged. Instant death. 2 instant death outcomes in a row. Isn't that a no-win situation? What do I even need this potion for? Keep synthesizing the balanced sequence of the Tree of Life. Produce finished liberation potion products based on the Fang of Life. The effectiveness of this potion has been greatly improved. It balances out its efficacy and side effects. The success rate of gene liberation has risen to 67.7%. It eliminates the side effect of gene dissolution. It also locks in the direction of liberation. The transformation target is silicon-based life forms. What's more, after successful liberation, the user's original gene sequence is still retained. During the subsequent evolution process, the user will evolve into a dual gene sequence organism. They have both advantages and disadvantages of the 2 genes. The 2 genes complement each other. I felt like I'd just been struck by lightning. Dual gene sequence, and the kind that doesn't make you drop dead on the spot. Scavenger Alliance Underground Fortress Potion Laboratory. The rust-covered metal door slowly opened. A cloud of white steam spread out. A stunning young woman walked out from inside. But right now, her beautiful face was deathly pale. After just a few steps, she suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Then she stumbled and fell to her knees. Hongyun's crew rushed forward immediately. They scrambled to help the pale woman stand. But Hongyun's eyes were filled with tears. Her red lips trembled as she said, "I'm sorry. We failed, everyone." Right at this moment, in her pupils, there was still only one faint blue ring of light. And because she was badly injured, it looked dim and lifeless right now. The elderly Alliance leader felt his vision go dark. He'd poured almost 10 years of accumulated wealth into this, and couldn't even get a D-class gene user in return. Her sister Hina burst into tears. She wrapped her arms around her sister's shoulders, sobbed and said, "If I'd known this would happen, I should have been the one to take this risk." President, a Scavenger Alliance member, walked nervously into the crowd. "The Interstellar Alliance combat team is here." The president's body stiffened slightly. Right now, this was not good news for him. At all. He paused for a moment. The elderly president said thoughtfully, "How many people did they send?" 2 jump ships. Speaking of the new ships, the member looked terrified, swallowed hard and said, "In the past dozen visits, we've never had 2 new ships arrive at the same time. A fully loaded jump ship carries 2,000 people, which means they've sent at least 2,000 people this time." The president felt his hands go numb. "So many people. Father, we have to seize this opportunity." Hongyun lifted her pale face. "There must be high-ranking military officials on those new ships." The president wore a desolate look. "Seize the chance. We only have first-tier gene users here. To them, first-tier gene users are only worthy of a little verbal respect at most. We have no say in anything at all. Father, I found this by chance a while ago." Hongyun took out a small box. After opening it, there were 2 nail-sized black films inside. These are contact lenses made of biological material. Hongyun took a slow, deep breath and put one of the contact lenses on her left eye. The next second, there was another blue ring in her pupil. The president's voice was shaking with shock. "Child, this is fraud. The Interstellar Alliance combat team is a military unit after all. They probably won't carry super precise gene testing equipment with them." Hong Yun bit her lip hard. "So there's a chance I can pull this off." The president's facial muscles twitched. "Do you know what will happen to you if you get caught?" There was a determined glint in Hong Yun's eyes. "All I know is, if we don't get funding soon, every scavenger on Earth will be done for." The air was dead silent for a long, long time. The president's body trembled, but he couldn't say a single word. Faced with all this, there was nothing he could do. Meanwhile, I stared at the crystal-clear potion in my hand. No matter what source I check, I've never heard of any human being able to turn into a silicon-based life form, let alone a dual-gene sequence one. What do the legendary silicon-based life forms even look like? My eyes flickered with thought. A 67.7% success rate. It's totally worth a shot. Immediately, I twisted open the test tube cap, tilted my head back, and chugged the entire mysterious potion down. But when the last drop of potion slid down the tube wall, I suddenly felt like time was slowing down. I could clearly see my own face reflected on the surface of the drop. I saw that my pupils were no longer the dark black circles they used to be, but instead, they had turned into some kind of interlocking geometric structure. Those are tightly connected triangles. They look like fully bloomed flowers and start flipping outward layer by layer. At this very moment, those tightly connected triangles spread all over my face and then cover my whole body. Like a tiny firework with no flame, my body shatters into countless tiny triangles. The world goes completely dark, just like the state before the universe was born. I can't feel my body or even my own existence. Then 2 points of light suddenly turn on right in front of my view. The 2 points of light start expanding, getting bigger and bigger. Finally, they form 2 gorgeous, mysterious, and precise structures. One of them is a bright blue, glowing, magnificent double helix structure. It's the foundation of human reproduction for tens of thousands of years. The DNA that carries all human genetic information. On the other side is a purple shimmering rhombus, dodecahedron structure, and on each rhombus surface, it is covered with dense sequences that look like cosmic codes. This must be the gene of silicon-based life, right? I don't know how I'm making sound right now. I just feel my voice echoing in this vast, empty space. The so-called silicon-based life uses silicon element as the foundation of life. In this dark space, another voice suddenly rings out. It's deep and ancient, as if it comes from the depths of history. We don't need to be like carbon-based organisms that rely on water and organic molecules to maintain life activities. Our skin is a layer of translucent silicon film that can filter and refract light, making us show bright and colorful hues. Our way of movement uses electromagnetic force or the growth and contraction of crystals to achieve position shifting. Communication between us uses fixed-frequency electromagnetic waves to transmit information, sending massive amounts of complex information in an instant. In high-temperature environments, our body structure has sufficient stability. It won't decompose due to high temperature like carbon-based organisms. Through the whole process, via some way I can't understand at all, I learned about a never-before-seen magical life form. This is a kind of inheritance, information recorded in the genes of silicon-based organisms. Suddenly, I shivered. My vision quickly became clear. I saw the underground shelter and its gorgeous spherical ceiling. I saw the glass test tube I was holding in my hand, and also saw inside the test tube the drop of genetic reagent that was falling. That drop of reagent finally fell into my mouth. I shook my head. My eyes were full of confusion. I've been sitting here the whole time. So what exactly did I just see and hear? Was it a hallucination? But the next second, my body froze slightly. My right hand holding the test tube was no longer a human arm. It was a hand that reflected dazzling light, just like a fancy, perfect diamond. My whole body was glowing with dazzling light like colorful colored glaze. I moved my hand slightly. All movements worked as normal, but my arm sent back an illusion of heaviness and hardness. The next moment, I clenched my fist hard. A layer of spiked crystal armor quickly appeared all over my body. I looked just like a gorgeous crystal bramble flower. I opened my eyes slightly wider. All of this points to one single conclusion. The current me must be the legendary dual gene sequence holder. This is probably an unprecedented existence. All of a sudden, in front of my eyes, appeared strips of translucent blue ribbons, agile and mysterious. Some of them are connected to Iron Mom parked quietly in the distance. Some are connected to Earth Dragon King expansion devices. I was filled with shock and doubt. The inheritance didn't seem to explain this phenomenon. Looking at Iron Mom in the distance, deep in my consciousness, a strange feeling suddenly popped up. Following this feeling, I had a random thought. Iron Mom in the distance suddenly woke up and slowly moved forward 10 centimeters. My eyes widened sharply. I just imagined this scenario in my head. I never expected Iron Mom to actually execute it. Those blue ribbons are some kind of connection. My thoughts are connected to the control center of the machine. Looking at my diamond-like hands, my eyes flickered with thought. Wait, I'm already a silicon-based life form now. So devices like Iron Mom and Earth Dragon King expansion units can also be considered a type of turtle machine life, or a primitive kind of silicon-based life. After I became a silicon-based life form, I can resonate with other silicon-based life forms. That's exactly what the inheritance mentioned. It's the unique communication method for silicon-based life forms. My eyes got bigger. That way, all the tech creations I synthesize later, as long as they have a silicon-based chip, can't I control all of them remotely? Right after that, I looked down at my own body again. This silicon-based body is super shiny. I can't go out looking like this, right? Since it's a dual gene sequence. These two genes should be switchable. Switch, I mumbled to myself. I pictured the feeling in my head at the same time. And just in that instant, the space around me went completely dark. I entered that dark, empty world again. Two groups of glowing genes were floating in front of me. At that very moment, the two groups of genes started moving. They completed some kind of swap in the blink of an eye. The double helix DNA burst out with bright light. I shivered all over. I was back in the underground shelter again. My body had turned back into normal human flesh and blood. I grabbed a mirror, stared at my own eyes. In my pupils, there were 3 blue rings representing sea-level genes. And inside the innermost ring, there was also a crystal geometric pattern representing silicon-based life. But right now, it only covers the centermost ring, which means silicon-based life genes also have tiers, just like the rings in the eyes of high-grade carbon-based gene holders. It's also a system that can be upgraded. Right now, I feel like I've got a long way to go, but also endless possibilities ahead. Then I shifted my gaze to the 20 creature transport boxes on the ground. These things are super expensive, and he just gave them to me like it's nothing. Boss Mo is so generous. Inside a starship outside Earth, Mo suddenly sneezed. He was confused. Why haven't those creature boxes returned yet? Did they get lost in Earth's storms again? I glanced again. At Iron Mom parked quietly beside me. If I fuse the 20 boxes into Iron Mom, what kind of device will it turn into? Can't waste Boss Mo's kindness. No time to waste, let's do it. Start synthesizing biomass material transport containers. X10 K443 integrated transport platform. X5. Iron Mom's official device code is K443. I already have 6 Iron Moms now. Continue synthesizing X3S2IP5 atomic transport platforms. Compared to the previous generation, the K443 has received a revolutionary upgrade. All performance metrics are significantly improved. Atomic compression technology has been added. Through the special E2 force field, it can reduce the atomic spacing of objects at the micro level to achieve a volume reduction effect on the macro level, which greatly improves storage capacity. This tech comes from a level 2.4 civilization's atomic transport platform. I was a bit shocked. It can shrink other objects for storage. Level 2.4 civilizations are really insanely powerful. What if I keep synthesizing? X14 long-range transmission transport platform. Keeps all functions of the S225 and has been optimized. E2 force field efficiency increased by 240%. AI capability increased by 93%. Also adds 4 sets of directional transmission modules, which can greatly improve loading efficiency. This device comes from a level 3 civilization. This time the transport platform turned into a triangular body about 4 meters tall. And on the body of the machine, 4 palm-sized external devices are inlaid. I pulled one off with a little force. It looks like a slightly thicker playing card. This is the so-called directional transmission module. With a single thought, the tiny playing card suddenly spread out and expanded into a blue light gate that's almost 4 meters tall and around 3 meters wide. I tested it out. Grabbed the small stool I just sat on, threw it into the light gate with one hand. A bright beam of light flashed and the chair, appeared inside the X-14 storage space, and its size had shrunk to 1/10 of its original size. I was really shocked by this. Isn't this a mini version of the directional Stargate? 100 years ago, the invention of the directional Stargate allowed humans to quickly start the Great Cosmic Era, and indirectly led to Earth's current fate. I once saw the so-called directional Stargate in a tattered old poster. That thing was huge, hundreds of meters tall. But this playing card in my hand is just an add-on module for the X-14. It actually has the same function as a directional Stargate. If those guys from the Human Science Alliance saw this, they'd lose their minds on the spot. Tier 3 civilization. That's insanely powerful. With this, I just need to stay inside my underground shelter, place a transport module there, and carry another one with me. Then I can use the small directional Stargate anytime to get back to my own shelter. That's literally a real-life any door, right? Finally, my eyes landed on a sky blue beverage bottle. It's an extra gift from Mo, high-energy protein extract. It's a type of daily drink, packed with various highly purified polymer nutrients. It can effectively replenish human body energy in a short time, and has a certain effect on purifying defective genes. It also slightly improves overall physical fitness. I smiled. Mo said before. This is a custom product exclusive to his entire family. Normally, one bottle sells for 12,000 credit points. Is Mo the heir of a big prominent family? His family is really damn rich and generous. I twisted open the cap and was about to take a sip when the STC emitted a scanning beam again. Special toxin detected. This toxin is extremely rare. It's a type of cytosol toxin. It has exclusive gene-locking properties. No obvious side effects will show up after short-term use. But if you take it for a long time, the toxin will slowly and unnoticeably damage the entire human body structure. Eventually, it will cause irreversible death. This toxin does not originate from human civilization. Even with the most advanced human medicine available now, there's no way to effectively neutralize it. The toxin takes effect over roughly 2 to 3 years. During this period, the pupils of the poisoned person will have barely noticeable golden spots, and the poisoned person will also experience light convergence symptoms. My arm froze. Gene locking? And it's a hidden, slow-acting poison, Mo said before. This drink is custom-made for his family, which means the poisoner has a very clear target. He wants to secretly take down the entire Mo family. This is kind of troublesome. My eyes flickered and I frowned slightly. Mo left a pretty good impression on me. If Mo dies from the poison one day in the future, that's the last thing I want to see. Sometimes technology is just a cycle. As early as 120 years ago, Earth medical scientist Song Dai once developed a gene complement agent and conducted tests on lab mice. Although the results were unsatisfactory, but actually, this failed agent happens to have a chance of neutralizing many types of cytosol toxins. Looking at the lines of text displayed by the STC, I was a little stunned. You're pretty thoughtful this time, huh? Giving me so much information? Song Dai? I frowned. That name sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard it somewhere before. Suddenly, my eyes widened. Professor Huo Linchong mentioned this name in his last words. That recording quickly popped up in my memory. When I woke up, I told people about the magic of the muon. No fucking person believed me at all, including my good friend, Song Dai from the Zone 53 Genetic Research Institute. He didn't believe me either. My expression shifted. Huo Linchong's Muon Research Center is located in Zone 52, while Song Dai's Genetic Research Institute is in Zone 53. If nothing goes wrong, the two places shouldn't be too far apart. I let out a slow breath and looked towards the north from afar. Boss Mo, I'm someone who knows how to return favors. I won't slack off on what I should do. But for the rest, it all depends on your family's fate. Up on the ground right now, the ash storm is almost completely over. Only a little chaotic airflow remains. In midair, a huge low rumble suddenly came through. I saw 2 large transport starships slowly appear above the atmosphere. Didn't Mo say that Earth is already under blockade? Why are there still starships here? My pupils constricted slightly. I suddenly realized my eyesight has also improved greatly. I saw the mark on the starship clearly. That's a warship of the Galactic Alliance Combat Squad. I arrived at Kyoto again. The place is still filled with lots of chemical toxins and excessive levels of radiation. Low roars came from all around. In the garbage heap not far away, pairs of scarlet eyes were flickering. Just then, a giant red-furred killer rat suddenly lunged out. Its jaw stretched wide as it bit towards my head. My extreme warrior armor, deployed a dagger glinting with cold light. My gaze turned sharp. An idea popped up in my subconscious. In the next split second, I shot forward like an arrow released from a bow, brushing right past the pouncing red-furred killer rat in a flash. The red-furred rat missed its attack and quickly turned around, leaping 3 to 4 meters to pounce at me again, but I didn't make any move at this point. I just stood where I was, with a cold glint in my eyes. Squelch. The red-furred rat first felt a tingle in its abdomen, then burst open with a squelching sound. My pupils constricted slightly. According to the data provided by the Extreme Warrior armor, my top speed just now was 28 meters per second. That's almost as fast as a cheetah back in the old days. C-grade gene. Who knew it could boost the human body this much? The beast-like roars around me grew more and more frequent. I decided to run the next speed endurance test. 3 minutes and 28 seconds later, I gasped for air as I looked at a ground full of dead red-furred rats. That's the maximum duration I can maintain my top speed. Lasting 3 minutes and 28 seconds is actually pretty impressive for a guy. Suddenly, a shiny object slipped out of a dead red-furred killer rat's body. The glint caught my eye perfectly. No way, an inner core. Isn't this a sci-fi world? I took a few steps forward, bent down and picked up the shiny item. Right at this moment, the STC on my wrist emitted a blue scanning beam. This item is an impurity-containing amorphous alloy. Its functional features and application scenarios are similar to standard amorphous alloy, but its purity is only 70%. Due to mutation, scavenger rat stomach acid has special molecular corrosive properties. Alloy scrap slowly fuses together in their stomachs, forming this heavily impure amorphous alloy. So that means, scavenger rat stomach stones are actually amorphous alloy. Rats have extremely strong reproductive ability. Plus, they've been breeding for 100 years. Think how much scrap alloy we could get from that. Alloy like this, paired with Boss Mo's connections, is straight up hard currency. Literal cold hard cash. I stared at the red-furred rats all around me, my eyes bursting with greedy light. But the next second, I wiped the smile off my face. My top priority right now is finding the Genetics Research Institute and getting medicine to save Boss Mo. If Boss Mo dies, how am I gonna cash in on this? I'll stop messing with the killer rats for now. Turbo power. Shoes activated. My body lifted into the air, flying toward the old site of Meowsy Research Center. 10 minutes later, I floated right above the Meowsy Research Center. Based on the location, the Genetics Research Institute is most likely south of the Meowsy Research Center.
But as I slowly moved south,
I suddenly noticed the killer rats on the ground had suddenly turned extremely violent. What's going on? I frowned, then realized the further south I moved, the crazier those killer rats got. They don't want me going to the south side. A thought flashed in my head. They're protecting something. And I was getting closer and closer to the target they're guarding. I had the answer in my heart. I quickly followed the rat pack's reactions and arrived right above the target. Let me see. What exactly are you guys protecting? The killer rats were very agitated, and I needed to dig through these layers of trash. Suddenly, a bright idea hit me. A crazy plan formed in my head. I slowly stretched out my hands and turned the gravity field adjustment gloves to maximum power. Then I slowly pressed them against my chest. Puzz! The gloves' internal gravity field burst out. A faint yellow ripple covered my entire body. At the same time, my eyes glowed with diamond-bright light. The Extreme Warrior armor instantly disengaged from wear mode, floating behind me on its own. The next second, my body fully turned silicon-based. The crystal structures on my body grew rapidly and gathered downward, finally forming a sharp cone made of crystal. The violent, out-of-control gravity field also kicked in at this exact moment. The cone plummeted from the sky, piercing into the trash pile like a drill bit. Powered by the raging gravity field, I smashed through everything in my path, drilling through layer after layer of trash. Finally, right as my kinetic energy was about to run out, my feet hit empty air, and I entered some empty underground space. I immediately took control of my silicon-based body and retracted the crystal armor. I dropped to one knee and reverted back to my carbon-based lifeform appearance. The Extreme Warrior armor right behind me also flew down and activated wear mode midair. Perfectly combining with my body, the hole above me started to collapse, pouring down dirt and trash, temporarily stopping the killer rats from chasing after me. Lights shot out from the shoulder of the Extreme Warrior armor. As my vision gradually cleared, I realized something absolutely horrifying. On all the surrounding walls of this room were glass jars lined up one after another. Just a rough count. says there are at least 10,000 of them, and inside each of these glass jars holds a tiny little skeleton. They're the bones of lab mice, test subjects abandoned after humans left Earth. This sight made me feel really tight in the chest. Humans chose lab mice as test subjects for a reason, because they're weak, docile, and easy to handle, and share really similar DNA with humans. I frowned, and a wild thought suddenly popped into my head. Like, what if to some advanced alien civilizations in the universe, humans are also weak, docile, and super genetically similar? I kept walking forward until I finally reached a warehouse. As far as my eyes could see were dozens of huge metal canisters. These are Songdai's gene completion potions, but when I checked them carefully, my face immediately fell. All the canisters were empty, and judging by the crystal residue left on the inner walls, these potions didn't just evaporate on their own. It looked more like something over the past 100 years. Slowly drank all this liquid up. As soon as this thought crossed my mind, I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. There was another creature hiding in this underground space. A faint, strange noise suddenly came from the distance. It sounded like fur rubbing against metal. The hair on the back of my neck stood up instantly. I spun around sharply. The light on the shoulder of my extreme warrior armor lit up the whole area ahead in a split second. I saw that on the crisscrossed black pipes up ahead. A small white mouse was standing upright perfectly still. This little white mouse was only the size of my palm. Its fur was pure white and super soft. But my pupils shrank sharply the second I saw it, because I saw something totally unbelievable. It didn't have a skull. In its place was a tiny metal bracket. But what really shocked me was, right now, on its exposed brain, were clusters and clusters of pink crystals growing. Looking at the structure of those crystals, I got more and more shocked. Why does this look like a trait of silicon-based life? Did it really survive for over 100 years? By eating those gene completion potions, and during this whole process, it must have gone through some kind of genetic mutation. For example, its brain now has traits of silicon-based life. I saw the little white mouse stop moving its paws, turned around and looked at me. Its mouth moved a little, making faint squeaking noises. I was stunned for a second, because from the pink crystal on top of the little mouse's head, a wisp of blue ribbon floated out, with its other end gathered right between my eyebrows. And then, I unbelievably understood what the little mouse was saying. You cruel human demon. I realized what was going on the next second. The little mouse wasn't actually speaking human language. It had gained some abilities of silicon-based life forms. This is a special way of communication between silicon-based life. I don't allow humans to step foot on my territory. You're about to be killed. The little mouse kept squeaking. The pink crystal on its head suddenly got brighter and started flashing at a specific frequency. The entire gene research center suddenly started shaking. At the same time, I heard the roars of countless killer rats. The ceiling started to come loose. Listening to the digging sounds getting closer and closer, I finally figured everything out. This little guy in front of me can use those pink crystals on top of its head to send out some special signals to control the entire killer rat colony. No wonder when I got close to this gene research center earlier, the killer rats on the ground were super aggressive and crazy because they needed to protect their rat king. And facing such a dangerous little white mouse, I didn't panic at all, because I knew all of these abilities came from its partially transformed crystal brain. I'm not the kind of human, you know. In a way, we're the same kind. My pupils started to change, and lines like geometric patterns appeared on them. The little white mouse suddenly froze and tilted its tiny little head to the side. It never expected someone could communicate with it. I lifted my hand and temporarily shifted my arm into silicon-based form, matching the crystal on top of the little mouse's head. We're both extremely special beings. We shouldn't kill each other. We should be best partners. The little white mouse's eyes were shining and nimbly climbed up onto my shoulder. I need a partner. There's no more food here anymore. Can you take me with you? Of course, this seems like it's meant to be. I glanced at the empty jar behind me. I came here to look for something for a friend. Detoxing is the top priority, from what it looks like right now. I can't help him detox, can I? The little white mouse stuck out its soft pink paw and made a small cut gently. Right after that, a clear, glistening red blood bead formed on the cut. This should work. I looked at that drop of blood bead. Inside the bright red blood, there were countless tiny hexagonal crystals, magical and beautiful. The SDC also emitted a scanning beam at the same time, semi-regulated mechanized serum, because it's fused and purified with a large number of genes. It can supplement agents and repair damaged genes. Its detox efficiency increases exponentially. This item is a naturally derived product, cannot be synthesized. I was a little shocked, then smiled in relief. Boss Mo is saved. Right at this moment, the ceiling of the Underground Research Institute collapsed. Countless giant killer rats flooded the room in an instant. They arched their bodies and let out shockwave-like roars. But when these killer rats saw the little white mouse standing upright on my shoulder, their aggressive aura faded, obviously. They all stopped howling in unison. And the pink crystals on the little white mouse's head also started glowing and flickering at this time. It was communicating with its people. A dozen seconds later, I saw a rather shocking scene. Hundreds of terrifying-looking red-furred killer rats in front of me suddenly pressed their 2 front paws to the ground and slowly lowered their heads, making a gesture of submission to me. Whoa, 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 rise! I totally didn't expect this. Never in my wildest dreams would the first time I get this much respect actually come from a group of ugly and ferocious mutated rats. If you have any needs, you can just communicate with me. The little white mouse squeaked. All my people can follow your orders. I was a little stunned. I really am the destined king of garbage. Now even rats have become my soldiers. I climbed back to the ground along the broken hole. You should have a name after all. How about calling you Zizi from now on? All your people have some hard alloys in their stomachs. Now I obviously can't hurt them anymore. Do you have any solution? Those things for them are foreign objects in their stomachs anyway. Zizi's voice came over. This is super easy to solve. A few minutes later, I had all sorts of mixed feelings. Tens of thousands of ugly red-furred rats were vomiting crazily right in front of me. What kind of feeling is that? These red-furred rats, as if they saw something even more disgusting than themselves, ran up to me in batches to vomit. Soon, on the ground within a 5-kilometer radius, scrap gold alloys were scattered everywhere. Who would have thought? Garbage Earth hides such an amazing treasure. Next step is to move all these treasures home. I reached inside my coat and took out a precision-structured metal playing card. I squeezed it lightly, then tossed it on the ground. The playing card unfolded on its own after landing. A 4-meter-tall blue light beam gate appeared out of thin air. Then a 3rd-generation Iron Mom slowly drove out of the gate, rushed straight into the garbage heap, accurately picked up each piece of flying gold alloy. This harvest was absolutely bumper. Over 50,000 alloy pieces, spark plates, and ZZ, as well as 140 million killer rat troops. I reopened the micro stargate, stepped into it in one go. The next second I appeared in my underground shelter. 2 Iron Moms returned on schedule. Unloaded piles of spotless flying gold alloys. Data shows. The total is 49,803 alloy pieces. I was so happy I couldn't put it into words. Start synthesizing impure amorphous alloys. Synthesis successful. 24,901 amorphous alloys. The amorphous alloys from red-furred rats are low quality. Now after 1 round of synthesis, half of the quantity was consumed. Just produced standard amorphous alloys. But I don't feel regretful at all, because these alloys were practically free. And no matter how much we have it, the quantity is still surprisingly large. Start synthesis. Kaohsiung alloy. Quantity, 12E450. Before, only 4 pieces of Kaohsiung alloy earned me 34 million credit points. That shows how rare and expensive Kaohsiung alloy is. Right now, there's a whole floor of Kaohsiung alloy in front of me. With this amount, even the Interstellar Alliance's reserve doesn't have this much. I could even hear my own heart pounding like crazy above Kaohsiung alloy grade. What kind of world-shocking material will it be this time? Start synthesis. Unable to continue synthesis, missing tech blueprints from Tier 5 and higher civilizations. Cannot synthesize items of the corresponding level. Users can collect the corresponding info fragments to unlock higher tiers and synthesize info fragments. I looked at my crystal wrist guard. The blue starlight inside was still flickering non-stop. Your data is incomplete. Then how do I get those info fragments? I suffered immeasurable damage before. My civilization also took a huge hit. We were all scattered across the vast universe. I hope that one day, you can help us stand atop the universe again. Until then, I'll do everything I can to assist you. I was a little stunned for a second. STC really is from an advanced civilization. Top of the universe. Were they once the most powerful tech civilization out there? But no empire lasts forever. No legacy stays unchallenged. At some point, they were defeated by another civilization. I shook my head to shake off those random thoughts. That's not something I need to worry about right now. As for all the high commerce alloy on the ground, I can only sell them to Boss Mo for now. I turned on the dedicated radio. Your Destiny big client and total lifesaver is online. Mo's voice was as calm as ever. Why haven't my 20 tech crates come back yet? I let out a slow breath. Don't you know? Life is full of surprises. Things go wrong more often than not. Also, I got more high commerce alloy. What? Are you hiding some crazy secret or something? Mo's voice was full of confusion. This stuff is super rare even across the entire solar system. How do you just get some out of nowhere? A minor storm swept up a ton of trash, and I've always had good luck. I just happened to find some high commerce alloy. How many pieces did you get this time? Mo's voice sounded a little serious. Any deal involving high commerce alloy is a huge one. Not too much, not too much. Just 12E450 pieces. Thud, I suddenly heard a weird noise coming from the communicator. Wait there. The shipping crates will arrive right away. Also, prioritize taking those low-grade gene serums first. I headed up to the surface. I waited quietly for Mo's shipping crates. I looked up at the sky. The 2 Interstellar Alliance squad warships from before were still hovering near the atmosphere. They looked like they were searching for something. Rattle! I suddenly heard a faint sound from behind a garbage pile, about 500 meters away. What was that? That's the second time. I keep feeling like there's some living thing around here. Last time I saw a quarter of a person in the dust storm. I shifted my feet slightly, when I suddenly heard Mo's voice from the communicator. Get ready to receive the crate. So I stopped walking and turned back to look at the sky, and I saw a black bio crate way bigger than usual slowly appeared in the distant sky. The crate's flight path was really clever. It perfectly used the warship's scanning blind spot. Mo's so brave. Smuggling right under their noses. The dust storm had passed completely. The air current was super steady. That fridge-sized biotech crate landed steadily right in front of me. How much alloy can this tiny crate hold? How many trips would this take? I pressed the crate switch helplessly. The hatch slowly opened, and I froze. I looked inside the crate. Mo was wearing a full suit, leaning on a cane with his legs crossed, sitting there totally unfazed. Why are you even here? Mo's stare made me a little uncomfortable. You think I wanted to come? Mo looked super annoyed. If I didn't come myself, I'd be throwing good money after bad. You didn't study history properly, did you? I corrected him. The actual saying is throw a meat bun at a dog. It's gone for good. Right. Mo suddenly turned to look at me. It is a dog, yeah. I straightened my neck. I'm an advanced gene user. You have so many weird talking tricks. Doesn't he get tired? Let me make it clear. I'm not looking down on your status or anything, Mo said. I didn't really believe you could pull out 12,450 pieces of high commerce alloy. But the next second, Mo froze completely and swallowed the rest of his words, because I whipped off the tarp behind me with a whoosh. 12,450 pieces of high commerce alloy stacked into a pyramid. It almost blinded Mo. Boss Mo, have you ever seen a dog this rich? There's actually this much for real. Mo propped himself up on his cane with trembling hands. This is going to be my biggest deal in the last 3 years. Even the entire Mo family would take this deal seriously. Even though he had a ton of doubts, Mo stuck to his business principles the whole time. He didn't ask any questions. I'll find a safe shipping method real soon to move all these alloys away. Before that, I need to store the alloys here with you. We're basically friends at this point. Mo held back his excitement. His eyes were glinting. I'll give you a credit line of 500 million credits first. Do you want cash or trade for goods? Then I brought up a request I'd made before. The black market batches I want are failed genetic potions. I don't care about the quality. I just care about the quantity. I'll take every last one you have. Mo couldn't hide his shock when he heard that. What do you need so many potions for? Did you figure out some kind of potion refining technology? I played along with his guess and said mysteriously, don't tell anyone else about this. Mo froze for a second. Then he took 2 steps forward. Refining genetic potions is one of the hardest technologies in the world. I hope you pull it off. I looked into Mo's pupils. You could only see it if you looked really closely. Deep in Mo's pupils, there were tiny, barely visible golden specks floating around. Boss Mo, you haven't been well lately, right? You never let go of that cane now. I've been to some pretty sketchy places lately. Probably caught some kind of virus. Mo just shook his head casually. Our family employs the top doctors in the entire solar system. They'll fix these tiny issues in no time. I curled my lip and nodded. Boss Mo, have the other members of your family been feeling under the weather lately too? Like, not super obvious symptoms. Mo frowned.
To be honest with you,
I've always been pushed aside in the family, so I don't really know how everyone else is doing. But my dad has been really sick lately. The family's shared doctors have been super busy lately too. Don't count on those doctors. I sighed and said, they probably already know what's going on. They just can't do anything about it. Hell, they might even be planning to run away already. Mo's eyes widened a little. Why? Because your entire family has been poisoned with the cytotoxin. This toxin comes exactly from the special supply exclusive to the Mo family, the high-energy protein extract. Mo was completely stunned. A flash of panic crossed his eyes. Is all of this real? He found something off in that bottle of drink. How did he even figure that out? He just said he's been pushed aside. I raised an eyebrow. You're really lucky you know me. This time I'll help you pull off a loser young master comeback and save your entire family. Mo said seriously, I'm not a loser. I'm just a little overlooked, that's all. Yeah, I waved my hand, then took out one glass test tube with a drop of blood inside. This is no ordinary item. Mo quickly pulled a golden scale out of his pocket and started scanning it. This is semi-silicon-based life-form blood full of large amounts of incomplete gene crystals. Theoretically, it can fix all defective genes. There's never been a recorded transaction of this. Its value is immeasurable. Mo's eyes went wide. He said in disbelief, where did you get this? Worry more about your own family first. Go back and interrogate your family doctors properly. Make them tell you the truth. As I said that, I handed the test tube straight to him. Mo's eyes opened so wide they looked almost cartoonish. What's the price? I just smiled. Some guy risked his life 100 times, went through hell to find this drop of blood, all to save someone's entire family. But guess what? That someone thinks I stole his shipping crate. Boss Mo, do you think this guy is ungrateful as hell? Mo was a little confused. Don't you mean heartless as a wolf and a dog? He saw me staring straight at him. Yeah, dog, right. Mo gripped the test tube tightly. His expression was a mix of shock and doubt. I'll start investigating as soon as I get back. If all of this is true, the entire Mo family will owe you a huge favor. Oh, it's no big deal, Boss Mo. I just don't want to lose my cash cow. I waved my hand. By the way, what does your family even do? Are you all just goods traders? I have to admit my mistake to you. My last name isn't Mo. Mo puffed out his chest. The last name of our entire clan comes from a name that has shone brilliantly across thousands of years of Chinese history. Our family name is Mo, the same Mo as the philosopher Mozi. The current head of our clan is named Mo Yu, but he traveled far into interstellar space years ago and hasn't returned for 100 years. Mo Yu? I shrugged my shoulders. Never heard of him at all. Anyway, when it comes to my family, you didn't just stand by and do nothing. Mo said somewhat seriously. To show my initial gratitude, I have to share some info with you. I looked up at the 2 starships in the sky. About this Interstellar Alliance combat squad, before they arrived on Earth. They bought tons of weapons and ammo from the interstellar black market. That makes 0 sense at all. As regular military troops, they already have fixed ammunition quotas, but they chose to buy extra supplies anyway, which means they have off-the-books combat plans. Off the books. Combat? I frowned. What the hell are they up to? Nothing is confirmed yet. Nobody has a clue. What shady stuff they're hiding? You need to be careful from now on. Actually, the whole trash heap of Earth needs to be careful. Right after I got back to the underground shelter, my communicator broadcast an announcement from the Scavengers Alliance. All scavengers are requested to head to Scavengers Alliance headquarters immediately to jointly welcome the arrival of the Interstellar Alliance combat squad. I frowned. A sense of unease crept into my heart. I then instructed Hanzai and Little Bear, you two stay here. I'll go alone. I want to see what trick this Interstellar combat squad is really pulling. At the square in front of Scavengers Alliance headquarters, amid the exclamations of the scavengers, a man in his 60s slowly walked out. 2 figures followed behind him, one on each side. On the right was Hera, in a red dress like a post-apocalyptic rose. On the left was a woman wearing a gray cloak, whose face was completely hidden. A spindle-shaped landing craft flew from the distant sky and slowly landed on the square ahead. The hatch of the landing craft slowly opened. A tall, well-built young man in a gas mask appeared inside the hatch. This young lieutenant colonel stepped off the landing craft. Behind him, a dozen heavily armed soldiers filed out in sequence. The young man suddenly reached up and took off his mask, revealing a handsome face, and in his pupils, 2 faint blue rings were clearly glowing. "Hello everyone, my name is Ning. You can call me Lieutenant Colonel Ning from now on." The young officer had a warm smile on his face and waved to greet everyone. A soldier next to him said, "Colonel, the air here. You better put your mask back on." Lieutenant Colonel Ning frowned slightly. He tilted his head and whispered, "No one else is wearing a mask. If we wear ours, won't it look like we think we're better than everyone else?" The soldier froze for a second. Then he also reached up and took off his gas mask. The rest of the soldiers laughed, and all took off their masks too. Seeing this, I was a little surprised. "That's pretty polite, huh? Welcome, we're so glad you're here." Chairman Lee looked excited, stepped forward and shook the young officer's hand tightly. "On behalf of the Scavengers Alliance, I promise, we will fully cooperate with you. Let me make introductions for you, Lieutenant Colonel Ning. This is my younger daughter, Hera." Hera stepped forward and held out her pale, slender hand and shook the young officer's hand. She didn't let go for a long time and rubbed her fingers lightly on the back of his hand. "Hello." Lieutenant Colonel Ning gave a polite smile and nodded in a gentlemanly manner, then pulled his hand back with a little force. "This is my elder daughter." Chairman Lee turned to the side and pointed at the figure in the gray cloak. Just then, the figure ripped off the cloak, revealing a tall, slender figure. When Lieutenant Colonel Ning saw her face, his expression immediately froze. "Hello, Lieutenant Colonel." Hong Yun stepped forward. "As you can see, Earth is severely lacking in resources right now. Scavengers are having an especially hard time surviving." Hong Yun was about to say more. Chairman Lee cut her off. "Lieutenant Colonel Ning just landed." "Isn't it a little too early to talk about this stuff?" "It's fine." Lieutenant Colonel Ning looked into Hong Yun's eyes with a smile. "Miss Hong Yun, you actually have D-class genes." Hong Yun paused for a moment and nodded gently. Colonel Ning bowed gentlemanly to show his respect. "Flowers can even bloom in the desert. That's really admirable." Right at this moment, a soldier suddenly walked up to Colonel Ning. "Colonel, per standard protocol, if during a patrol, we find someone with genes above level 1, we need to run a genetic test on them." Hearing this, Hong Yun, her beautiful eyes trembled violently. The chairman on the side and Hina also shivered slightly, but Colonel Ning just waved his hand. Miss Hong Yun's face says it all. "I don't think there's any need for a test." Hong Yun's expression relaxed immediately. Chairman Lee also burst out laughing. "All you warriors have come such a long way. Please come inside quickly. Let's sit down and talk." "No rush," said Colonel Ning seriously. "I already get what Miss Hong Yun means. I'll send an application to the Alliance later. Fresh water, food, energy cells, and other necessities will be delivered here as fast as possible." "Really?" Chairman Lee's eyes widened. He was so excited he almost cried. He looked at all the scavengers. "Did you all hear that?" Cheers immediately erupted from the crowd of scavengers. "Long live the Solar System Interstellar Alliance. Long live Colonel Ning." Colonel Ning also nodded at everyone with a smile, also to show how much the higher-ups value the people of Earth. We also included in this inspection team a group of heroic figures. Chairman Lee froze for a second. Heroic figures. Yes, famous and well-respected heroes. Colonel Ning turned around slowly and pointed at the landing craft. A soft whir of the cabin door activating sounded. 8 huge figures slowly appeared in the cabin doorway. They were 8 warriors wearing exoskeleton armor. This is the Extremis Warriors 8. In the crowd, my pupils shrank instantly. Because I know a secret no one else knows. The Extremis Warriors 8 have long turned to bones. They were sealed inside a fuel tank and buried deep underground for 20 years. Right now, how can the Extremis Warriors 8 be here? Did the Extremis Warriors team get re-established and recruited new members? I frowned, trying to find a reasonable explanation. The arrival of the Extremis Warriors team, everyone, is also here to boost your morale, so you can all face everything more bravely. Colonel Ning turned around and saluted the Extremis Warriors team. An even softer pneumatic hiss came as the metal face masks of the 8 Extremis Warriors' exoskeletons slowly flipped upwards, revealing faces that had gone through years of hardship, but still looked resolute. Ding Feng, Extremis Warriors Team. Lin Lan Yue, Extremis Warriors Team. Long Zhangxiao, Extremis Warriors Team. They called out their names one by one, set off by their powerful exoskeletons. Their momentum was overwhelming. My pupils shrank suddenly. Ding Feng, Lin Lan Yue, Long Zhangxiao, I remember those names clearly. After I found the remains of the Extremis Warriors, I collected their name tags. I was full of respect back then, and even promised that one day I would find out the truth for them. But right now, a group of extremist warriors members suddenly showed up and called out the exact same names. As you can all see, Colonel Ning had a righteous smile on his face. 20 years ago, they went on an extremely dangerous mission. The outside world once thought they died heroically, but actually, they relied on their superb combat skills to get out of danger alive and finally return to headquarters safely. I guess people just love this kind of story about heroes escaping death and making a comeback. Warm applause broke out at the scene. I gritted my teeth slightly. Bullshit. The real extremist Warriors 8 are already dead. They were ambushed, and their throats were slit from behind. Looking at Colonel Ning's heroic and righteous figure, I narrowed my eyes. Who the hell are you people? And what do you want? The scavengers gradually dispersed. Colonel Ning and his group also entered the Scavengers Alliance headquarters. Interstellar Alliance combat teams carrying firearms blockaded the Scavengers Alliance headquarters. I moved my feet slightly and stood outside their security cordon. If I can hear their next conversation, I can get more clues. Right at this moment, my gaze fell on the huge antenna standing on top of the Scavengers headquarters roof. That's the broadcast system of the Scavengers headquarters. My eyebrows twitch. I turn around suddenly, with my back to the combat squads, and slowly close my eyes. When I open them again, deep in my pupils, gorgeous diamond-like glints burst out. In my grayscale vision, electromagnetic signals in the air look like ribbons, all converging at the top of that huge antenna. The next second, my perspective follows one of the ribbons and drills into the inside of the antenna. Then along the circuits, it ends up inside a communicator at the Scavengers headquarters. On the digital display of the communicator, the wave frequency flickers slightly, with the value increasing by 0.01, but no one can notice this tiny detail. Just 5 meters to the right of this communicator sit Chairman Li, Lieutenant Colonel Ning, Hong Yun, and others. The next second, I hear their conversation. Lieutenant Colonel Ning, do you mean the reason we brought heavy firepower this time is that there's an SSS-class wanted criminal hiding on the garbage earth? Chairman Li's tone changes a little. His voice is full of deep panic. Back on the square, I also unconsciously widen my eyes a little when I hear this. That's really huge breaking news. I heard some news before. 7 years ago, the genetic mutant that slaughtered half a colonial planet only had an S+ attack rating. What on earth is this SSS-class thing capable of? First, there was the Extreme Warrior Squad that came back from the dead. Now there's an SSS-class wanted criminal. What the hell is going on with all this? What's the connection between them? The reason he's SSS-class is that he used to be one of the top leaders of the Galactic Alliance Combat Department. At the highest decision-making level, Lieutenant Colonel Ning's voice comes again. Chairman Li, have you heard of Kunlun? Kunlun? Chairman Li's voice is even more shocked. A true leader should be like Kunlun, the one standing at the top of the galaxy. Lieutenant Colonel Ning's voice comes slowly. Chairman Li's voice gets a lot sharper. Isn't he one of the 4 generals of the Human Legion? His name comes from a famous mountain on Earth. He's always been the pride of humanity. That was the past, Lieutenant Colonel Ning says slowly. Now he has betrayed all humanity. A flustered noise comes. Chairman Li seems to have knocked over his water cup. He is extremely shocked. What? Kunlun tried to assassinate the other 2 generals. To seize military power, Lieutenant Colonel Ning slows down his speech and says word by word, he wanted to stage a rebellion. 7 days ago, the 5th, 6th, 12th, and 19th fleets besieged Kunlun's 24th fleet. They were almost completely wiped out. As for Kunlun himself, he was hit by thousands of superpower sniper beams and suffered fatal damage. Finally, he fled to Earth, which is the area under your jurisdiction, Chairman Li. As Lieutenant Colonel Ning speaks slowly, you can clearly hear Chairman Li swallowing hard. So the Earth blockade some time ago is related to Kunlun. That's to prevent Kunlun's remaining followers from reinforcing him. Lieutenant Colonel Ning adds again, Kunlun is not a human in the conventional sense. He was seriously injured before. If he wants to restore his combat power, he needs external equipment. Chairman Li says tremblingly again. But Earth is full of tech garbage. Min Zhongxiao shakes his head. No offense meant. In Kunlun's eyes, all these things on Earth don't even deserve to be called garbage. Then what should I do? Chairman Li asks again. Min Zhongxiao's voice comes. You and the scavengers don't have to do anything. We'll take care of everything. The rest of the conversation has no more key information. I blink my eyes. My pupils turn black again. Is everything really because of this SSS class wanted criminal? But that doesn't make sense. Why would they buy ammo outside the regulations? What secret is hidden behind that 8-member extreme warrior squad? Before I know it, I'm back at my underground shelter. I look around and only see Hanzai. Then I ask where Xiaoqiong is. What's she doing? She's not at the back of the house, right? Nor playing with her new pet, right? That's such a dead giveaway. I scratch my head. Walk towards the back of the extension building. Back of the extension building. Xiaoqiong panicked instantly. Put her hands behind her back. Z's new clothes aren't finished yet. You can't try it on for now. I tilted my head and looked behind Xiaoqiong. There was a half-human tall shelf standing there. And on the top of the shelf was covered by a tattered scrap of hemp sack. So I asked, what's in there? That's... Xiaoqiong's eyes darted around evasively. It was Z on the ground next to her. Sai crawled out nimbly, climbed up my pant leg all the way to my shoulder. My voice got a little deep. I'm asking you, what's in there? Xiaoqiong is only 6 years old. He was rubbing his hands together uneasily right now, his eyes filled with panic. I shook my head helplessly. My face turned serious. Took 2 steps forward. Ripped off that tattered sack in one go. Then my pupils shrank suddenly. I froze right where I stood. What is this? On the metal platform ahead, there was a round birthday cake made out of edible energy blocks. Haha, Tengqi. Happy birthday. Xiaoqiong giggled while putting on a scolding expression. You adults are so hard to take care of. You even forgot your own birthday, 18 years ago today. Grandpa found you, so he made today your birthday. Hanzai took out a welding electrode and stuck it into the birthday cake. I was completely stunned on the spot. My eyes gradually got a little wet. Thank you, everyone. I was being unreasonable and suspicious of you all earlier. Thought you were hiding something you shouldn't. Bang! A dark shadow suddenly fell from the ceiling and smashed the energy block cake to pieces. Everyone was shocked. They all looked up at the same time. Gorgeous and beautiful. Dome above their heads, then everyone's eyes moved down at the same time to the object that crashed into the cake. It was a quarter of a human body. His eyes were shut tight right now. A lot of the synthetic skin on his face was burned off. His whole face looked mottled, revealing the metal skeleton underneath. Through the crack on this unknown creature's metal skull, you could clearly see there was a human brain inside his skull. This isn't a robot. I was horrified. This is a highly integrated cyber organism. Even the only remaining human brain had all kinds of chips implanted in it. So that blurry figure crawling with difficulty that we saw on the ground earlier was him. When did he get in here? Obviously, this unknown object in front of us definitely doesn't belong on garbage Earth. I guessed a possibility before, that the Interstellar Alliance combat team outside made up a SSS class wanted criminal to cover up some other purpose. Now it looks like the SSS class wanted criminal isn't made up. If he really is that SSS class wanted criminal, then he's definitely a hot potato. Hand him over to the Interstellar Alliance combat team. But we don't know if that team is good or bad yet. Don't hand him over. What if he's really a heinous human traitor? After a moment, I decided to do simple repairs on him first, to get more information. Countless nanorobots flew out of the quantum smart repair cluster, like smoke, gathered around the damaged cyber organism. The nano repair robots gathered and scattered repeatedly. Inside the cyber organism's brain, extremely tiny electric arcs flashed. Since all kinds of circuits are severely damaged, only remedial repair can be performed. Repair result cannot be predicted. The smart repair terminal floated in front of me, feeding back the repair information. This is garbage Earth. Damaged this badly. If he hadn't met me, and if I hadn't just synthesized the quantum repair cluster a while ago, he would have no chance of being repaired at all. Suddenly the cyber organism's eyelids twitched, and one eye snapped open. It didn't have a human pupil. No information like gene level or anything else either. It should be an electronic eyeball. I tried using the electronic resonance trait of silicon-based organisms to communicate with him, but got no response. Because he doesn't have a core CPU, his consciousness comes entirely from that human brain. The quantum cluster's repair work was almost finished. I calmed myself down and spoke slowly. Who are you? Her dust-flecked red lips slowly parted. I don't remember. I frowned. Is your biological brain damaged? What do you remember? The red light ring in the right eye of my cyber life form flickered slightly. I was betrayed. My heart skipped a beat. She looks more and more like that SSS class wanted criminal. What about yourself? What else can you remember? The red lips on the head trembled. I think my last name is Hua. My name is Hua. Kunlun really hit the jackpot. I leaned back. A man should be like Kunlun. The Kunlun that stands at the top of the galaxy, on that not-so-pretty head. One eye twitched slightly. Dad said a daughter should be like Kunlun. Always be the first to take on anything. I clicked my tongue. Your dad is really ruthless. A perfectly fine daughter. Got modified into this state. Where are those people, miss? The head's voice suddenly rose a little. Those gangsters who defamed my name and framed me as a traitor. Their real identities are a group of space pirates from 20 years ago. They slaughtered an entire space squad, put on military uniforms, tampered with the system records, and ran wild openly for 20 years. My pupils constricted suddenly. That's way too much info. Kunlun was wronged, and the real identity of that space combat squad is a gang of criminals, aka robbers, put on police uniforms. With a quick change, they got a whole new identity. According to the alert from the quantum repair cluster, the cyber life form head in front of me wasn't fully repaired. It's the subconscious in her biological brain that's supporting all her actions. In other words, all this information comes from her subconscious mind. It's the truest expression from the bottom of her heart. She's not lying, and she can't lie. I need to expose them. I need to wipe them out. I can't just let this go. As she said that, red light glowed in the beautiful head's eyes, like a strong fighting will. But all I saw was a hero brought low, was a hero past their prime, was pure misery. I was betrayed by traitors. I was destroyed. I lost my whole body and escaped to Earth. The fighting will in the beautiful head faded. The head slowly lowered, but she seemed to remember something else. But I saw a boy in the trash heap. On him, he has technology way more advanced than Earth's level. He can help me. Only he can help me. Please help me. The beautiful head's voice got softer and softer. Gradually, the light in her eyes faded. She stared blankly ahead and made no more movements. Her energy level is extremely low. Self-protection program activated forcibly. She entered hibernation. That's the diagnostic info from the quantum repair cluster. I took a deep breath. The truth is that Space Alliance Squad are the real traitors. They're not even worthy of being called traitors. They're just a bunch of ruthless bandits. I bet the real Extreme Warrior Squad that got killed 20 years ago was their doing. Pretended to be regular troops for 20 years. Without getting caught for 20 years, there must be someone even more powerful, covering for them. And that person is the real human traitor that wants to rebel. As for Hua Kunlun, she was in their way. The once majestic human general ended up in such a miserable state, all because she held on to her obsession. She's actually pretty pitiful. I sighed. That beautiful head was hanging low. The last expression was still on her face. It was a look of plea. At that moment, I puffed out my chest a little. I turned to Hanzai. Contact the scavengers. The boys can start buying stuff secretly. Tell them I need some cyber parts. The more, the better. Galaxy Alliance KRF Duty 1 is under construction. Lieutenant Colonel Ning's back was straight. He raised his hand and slowly saluted. The light in the center of the general's bridge was very dim. A hazy figure sitting in the center was faintly visible. The man responded in a low voice. What did you find? Ning Chongxiao shifted slightly to one side. The two soldiers behind him laid the black box flat on the ground. A mechanical whir sounded. The lid of the box slid open slowly. To one side, inside the box were hundreds of fragments of all sizes. When arranging them, we tried to restore their original structure as much as possible. They now look like half of a humanoid general. 30% of these fragments are from the space battlefield. The remaining 70% are from garbage Earth. The soldiers spent over 4 hours collecting all these pieces, Ning Zhongxiao said slowly. Our mechanic has already completed the assessment. His main body has been damaged to an extremely severe degree. Even if he's still alive, he has no combat power left at all. He chose Earth with barely any surveillance facilities. It looks like a way out. But it's actually a dead end. He will never find here. Any useful spare parts? Maybe he's already been picked up by some scavenger, torn apart and hung for sale at the market. After all, these scavengers only have this petty desire to scrape by. Lieutenant Colonel Ning, you once served as Kunlun's adjutant and lurked by his side to provide me with intel on his movements. and finally helped us destroy his 24th fleet. That's really a great contribution. The figure in the dark spoke slowly, but I'm telling you clearly right now. I want his brain. I want to witness his brain death with my own eyes. I will also mount him under my seat, so he can forever feel that he's under my heel. The figure turned to look at Lieutenant Colonel Ning. A cold glare shot out. If you can't find his brain in 72 hours, you don't deserve to keep yours either. Lieutenant Colonel Ning's body trembled, and quickly lowered his head. Yes, General. I returned to the Scavenger Alliance headquarters again. It's still guarded by Galactic Alliance squad soldiers. I used my silicon-based lifeform abilities to hack into their communication system again. In one of Chairman Lee's bedrooms, the already shut-down communicator suddenly played a teenage boy's voice. Who's there? The old man was startled and looked at the communicator in the room in horror. You're a hacker. You hacked into my communicator. What do you want? The Galactic Alliance squad you're hosting is up to no good. As a fellow scavenger, I think I need to warn you about this. Chairman Lee cut me off immediately. With hacking skills like yours, you're an impressive scavenger, but I hope you use this ability for good, instead of pulling silly pranks like this. Chairman Lee, are you really going to be this stubborn? Chairman Lee walked to the window and lifted the curtain gently. Kid, I actually noticed something off too. This squad is way too humble and way too approachable. Inspection teams in past years were never like this. But you can't deny that Garbage Earth right now has no value at all to them. As the saying goes, even robbers don't bother robbing poor families. We have nothing to lose anyway. Instead, I can use their nice guy act to try to get what I want. I'm surviving in the cracks. Sometimes it's better to play dumb. Do you understand that, kid? Right at this moment, over a dozen small transport ships suddenly appeared in the distant sky. They broke through the atmosphere and landed south of the Scavenger Alliance headquarters square. After the cabin doors opened, stacks of boxes were inside, full of edible energy bars. The surrounding scavengers ran wildly towards the transport ships. It looked like a huge carnival. I stood alone on the north side of the square, unmoved. The scene on the ground was clearly split into two sides. My eyes narrowed slightly at this moment. Everyone has their own motives. Maybe their needs are different, or their positions are different. I looked up at the starship in the distant sky. No matter what tricks you're gonna pull next, I'll fight you all on my own. Lieutenant Colonel, in the past 2 hours, we found 12 more fragments of Kunlun's remains. A non-commissioned officer reported, but we still can't find any trace of his main brain. Could some blind scavenger actually have hidden him away? Lieutenant Colonel Ning, who was sitting behind the desk, slowly stood up. I don't think scavengers have the guts to do that. Lieutenant Colonel Ning frowned, his face dark with anger. But these scavengers are like rats and bedbugs. It's not like they're totally worthless, the sergeant said confusedly. What good could they possibly be? Lieutenant Colonel Ning gave a low chuckle. Tell the guys. That plan they've been waiting for ages. We can finally kick it off. For real? The sergeant's eyes lit up. We've all been putting on an act for years. It's driving us crazy. This time, we can finally let loose on Garbage Earth and have some real fun. But we gotta take this plan step by step. We're only pulling a small stunt tonight. A sinister glint flashed in Lieutenant Colonel Ning's eyes. I still need some well-timed acting to slip in under the radar. I don't have eyes. I need an effective hidden surveillance system to track the movements of that fake army unit. Inside the underground shelter, I looked down slightly at today's materials, old antiques from the old era. 22 surveillance cameras, all of them are the exact same model. My eyes flickered for a moment. Start synthesis. Break down into raw materials. Synthesis successful. 11 units of TF-011 new aerial reconnaissance drones, equipped with night vision system, 200x zoom system, or wide-angle cameras, fixed monitoring range 3 square kilometers, battery life 4 hours. I shook my head. Way below what I need. This drone has 0 anti-surveillance systems. Anyone who's not blind can spot this thing right away. Break down into raw materials. Synthesis successful. DF-058 Flying Eye City. 5 military integrated aerial monitoring platform. Equipped with sonar system and high-precision thermal imaging system. 28 smart tracking cameras. Power system upgraded to magnetic levitation system. Cruise noise level below 35 decibels. Way too big. I stared at the device in front of me. It's at least 4 meters in diameter. Same problem as before. It draws way too much attention. Break down into raw materials. Synthesis successful. 2 units of AF-21 eco-camouflage surveillance systems. This device disguises the aerial monitoring unit to look exactly like sparrows. For any civilization below Tier 3 tech level, it's impossible to detect it remotely. Each sparrow has 2 high-precision cameras built in, capable of thermal imaging and wide-angle shooting, long battery life, and 5 other features. Codename, Birdcage. Looking at the device in front of me, I looked a little helpless. All birds on Garbage Earth went extinct ages ago. If I release these things out there, they won't be chirping like normal birds. Everyone will immediately notice something's off. Something's wrong. What the hell is wrong with me? I calmed myself down and kept synthesizing, breakdown into raw materials. Synthesis successful. SF-100 Eco-Camouflage Surveillance System. It's an eco-camouflage system. I froze for a second. Staring at the weird object in front of me, my face turned from red to purple. Then from purple to white. What the hell is this? In front of me is a pile of metal poop. To be precise, it's stacks of silver metal discs, piled up on top of each other. Ugh, whatever. This must be a creation from some advanced tech civilization, with super weird aesthetic taste. I touched it lightly with my palm, and the next second the metal poop unfolded right away. What the actual fuck? It looks like a damn poop door opening. My eye twitched. Because inside this device, there are layers upon layers of tiny grids, and each grid has a wiggling white maggot inside. Wait, is this thing codenamed Maggot Nest or something? Its codename is Thousand Eyes, because it perfectly copies the most powerful compound eyes in nature. Suddenly, tiny little black flies crawled out of the maggots. Then these flies turned their heads around quickly, and all turned to look at me at the same time. My pupils constricted in that instant. These aren't real flies. They're mechanical units. Each of their compound eyes is a surveillance camera. Each fly has roughly 8,000 compound eyes, which gives them a 360-degree field of view, allowing them to monitor every direction around them at the same time. No blind spots at all. Just like real flies, they can replenish bioenergy by eating, which gives them ultra-long battery life. This device comes from a level 2.6 biological civilization. I was absolutely shocked. The current environment of Garbage Earth is literally tailor-made for it, right here. It's basically an unbeatable surveillance system. Now I'm gonna test how well it works. I blinked once and activated the electronic resonance of silicon-based life forms to connect to thousands of compound eyes. The next second, tens of thousands of flies swarmed up all at once, forming a clearly visible black whirlwind, floating toward the exit of the underground shelter. Watching the flies disappear from my view, I suddenly realized something. First it was rats. Now it's flies. Am I really stuck messing with garbage dump critters? Oh well, whatever. No matter how well it works, right at this moment, SF wondered, the tiny tip of the eco-camouflage surveillance system emitted a perfectly straight beam of light. In the blink of an eye, it formed in midair, a huge holographic void screen. I was a little shocked. I saw that on this screen. Tens of millions of surveillance feeds were packed densely. The 88K resolution showed every tiny detail perfectly. At the same time, a map was being drawn on the right side of the void screen. At an extremely fast speed, Zone B24 where I live was fully mapped in the blink of an eye. All of this was thanks to those flies. They're now spread across dozens of kilometers around, and they're still spreading further. Inside the SF-100, a new batch of flies is still hatching. Right at this moment, I spotted something weird when I glanced around casually. That's Village A. This isn't some half-assed name. It's literally the official name of the place. A dozen or so scavenger families make up this tiny little village, but right now it's completely dead silent. My eyes widened a little. Over a dozen surveillance feeds popped up at the same time. All the villagers of Village A are dead. They weren't attacked with weapons. Almost all of them had their necks broken, or their spines snapped. A guess popped up in my head. Fuming anger slowly rose in my eyes. Kunlun did this. Colonel Ning sat in the hall of the Scavengers Alliance, a grief-stricken look on his face. I hope those scavengers can go to heaven and never suffer again. Chairman Lee's body was trembling slightly. No wonder I tried to contact Village A last night and got no response at all. I was gonna ask them to come pick up their food rations. Hong Yun clenched his fists. Is Kunlun insane? Why would he slaughter scavengers? Kunlun, that guy, he's just evil by nature. Colonel Ning frowned. Maybe those villagers refused to cooperate with him and didn't want to be blackmailed by him. He paused for a second, then lifted his head. I think it's time we tell the scavengers the truth. We need to inform everyone of two things. First, absolutely no one is allowed to provide any form of help to any suspected Kunlun entities. Second, if you spot any suspected Kunlun objects, notify me immediately. Inside the KRF's-02 Obsidian starship, Colonel Ning was followed by a squad of soldiers, a weird smirk on his face, moving quickly through the corridors. An old man in a white coat walked up with an obsequious smile and handed over the tray in his hand. Colonel, this is this month's anti-aging serum. Heh. Colonel Ning paused. What are you heh-hehing for? The old man in the white coat quickly bowed and said, sorry, that's a catchphrase from my hometown. Force of habit. Colonel Ning glared at him, then grabbed the syringe on the tray and injected it straight into his arm, then tossed the syringe aside casually. The old man in the white coat bowed repeatedly, keeping that smile on his face, knelt down to pick up the syringe, and watched Colonel Ning walk away. His attendant pushed open the huge double doors in front of them. Colonel Ning's figure slowly appeared at the doorway, and inside the newly built transport pod in front of him, over 500 Interstellar Alliance soldiers were gathered there. When these soldiers saw Colonel Ning arrive, they didn't stand up, and didn't salute either. They just kept laughing and drinking hard liquor. Colonel Ning didn't mind at all, brothers. The hunting plan can begin now. Quite a few soldiers immediately perked up and stood up. Boss, what's the play this time? Colonel Ning chuckled and walked in during the day. All of you go search for Kunlun's whereabouts. No slacking off. But once it's nighttime, it's time for us to have fun. That tiny village that Mao To's team raided last night. I've successfully framed Kunlun for that. Colonel Ning had a smug grin on his face. The initial wave of panic has already set in. No matter what happens from now on, those dumbass scavengers will automatically blame Kunlun by instinct. Keep framing Kunlun for all the crimes. Many soldiers' eyes lit up immediately. That's a damn brilliant move. Guys, we've been holding it in for way too long now, pretending we're proper regular soldiers every single day. If we don't get blood on our hands, it feels like we haven't eaten at all. We feel totally lifeless otherwise. Ning Zhongxiao exhaled slowly and said, the anti-aging serum we've been using all this time has certain side effects. It stirs up the violent instinct inside your body. It's been really hard on you all these years. No big deal. A soldier with a huge scar running across his face looked up and said, aren't we finally getting a chance to cut loose? Same old rules. 7-point system. Colonel Ning picked up a dagger casually. Based on combat strength, Spear Team enters the hunting ground first. 10 minutes later, the more powerful Beard Team moves out, and so on and so forth. Kids and the elderly, 1 point each. Women, 2 points each. Adult men, 3 points each. The dagger spun rapidly between his fingers. Colonel Ning tilted his head up and said, as soon as you see any living person, leave no survivors at all. If your identity gets exposed, your points get wiped immediately. All other teams will come to help silence witnesses right away, within a 50-kilometer radius. You all have a total of 4 hours. Many soldiers were already rubbing their fists in excitement, vicious glints flashing in their eyes. That sounds so damn good. Also, no firearms allowed tonight. All of you fight hand to hand. Colonel Ning looked around at everyone. Are we clear? Clear, a group of soldiers replied, already restless. Boss, when do we start? Countdown starts 5 minutes. Colonel Ning wore a cold sneer. After tonight, tons of scavengers will have been killed by Kunlun. Kunlun will become the most terrifying demon ever. Who would dare help him then? Who would dare hide his whereabouts? One soldier laughed wildly and said, hell yeah, they'll be dying to snitch information to us, hoping we catch Kunlun as soon as possible. You know that old saying, right? The eyes of the masses are sharp as a tack. The power of the masses is unbeatable. Colonel Ning narrowed his eyes. This way we can speed up Kunlun's arrest, and let all the guys have some fun too. Under the cover of night, the wind was gusting strongly. The landing craft picked a spot far away from residential areas and touched down quietly. Members of the Spear Team stepped out of the cabin, each with a vicious glint in their eyes. This time, our points are definitely gonna beat the Beard Team's. Why are there so many flies? On this shithole Earth, total garbage. It's so fucking disgusting. In the dark night, a teenager wearing a blue scavenger cloak slowly stepped out from behind a garbage mountain. So you guys get off on killing scavengers. One Spear Team member frowned and tilted his head. This kid was hiding here the whole time. He heard everything we said. So what if he heard us? The buff guy at the front said, look at how scrawny he is. He probably can't even get enough to eat. He's struggling just to stay alive as it is. This is the garbage earth. This is home to all scavengers. It's my home too. I took a slow, deep breath. I can do whatever I want here. Even setting that aside, other scavengers can do whatever they want here too. I suddenly lifted my head, my gaze dark and sharp. But you people don't get that right. Fuck, is this kid insane? The buff guy swung his arm and took a big step forward. Mark him down for 3 points. But in the blink of an eye, the teenager in front of him vanished on the spot. The big guy was stunned for a second. The next second, he felt his head go heavy and his feet light. Then he went spinning and crashed hard into the ground. Stay down. Cracking sounds burst from the guy's skull and spine. His skull shattered instantly. Thick black blood gushed out from all his facial features. He was killed instantly. The rest of the spear team didn't even have time to react. All of them froze where they stood. Inside the extreme warrior armor, a line appeared instantly, showing a movement path with 11 pause points. And each pause point corresponds to a one-hit kill move. In the pupils of these thugs, there was a faint khaki-colored ring. This wasn't a mark of a high-grade gene holder. It was a sign of some super soldier modification. It gave them combat strength far beyond ordinary people. But against my C-grade genes and ultramarine armor are as fragile as tiff on trees and can't take a single hit. A silver cold flash zipped past. One of the gangsters only felt his neck go ice cold. Then his perspective spun as he soared into the sky. Spear team members dropped to the ground one after another, all killed with a single strike. The whole thing took less than 10 seconds total. I flicked my wrist and retracted the memory metal dagger, glanced back at the corpses on the ground, and said slowly 36 points. Inside the key starship, Lieutenant Ning tapped the silent communicator and shook his head with a tut. Spear team still sucks, huh? 9 minutes have passed. Still no update at all. Lieutenant Ning then glanced at the queue not far away. Beard team, get ready. Hope you guys have fun and get a good score. I checked all 12 corpses, but didn't find a single firearm. They only had 12 particle-cutting daggers on them and 12 small signal jammers. I stowed all these loot away, dug a random pit to bury them. Right after I finished everything, my ears twitched. I looked back and saw that another landing craft flew off the key starship. This point competition those guys are talking about is actually running strictly per the procedure. My eyes flickered. I ducked behind the nearby garbage mountain as the landing pod touched down slowly. 12 members of Beard Team filed out. Their eyes glowed with ravenous, beast-like hunger. Those idiots from Spear Team are dumb as rocks. They're probably searching around aimlessly. I already confirmed the location of the nearby water source. After the sun sets, the chemical toxins here will weaken slightly, and tons of scrappers will come to get water. I'll go wait at the water source and catch them easy. Wait for rabbits by the tree? That's a pretty good way to put it. A low voice came from somewhere. I was sitting on top of the garbage heap, silhouetted against the hazy silver moon. The leading bald burly man squinted. I told you guys a long time ago, even when we're dealing with scrappers, we shouldn't take them lightly. This place is full of toxins. It's not rare to have freaks like gene mutants around here. The bald man got into a defensive stance. Third, you just injected an agility booster. Go test his strength. The rest of you surround him. Find a chance to take him out in one hit. 1 minute later, I stepped on the tattoo-covered bald head and wiped my hands slowly. 72 points. This garbage earth is so big and sparsely populated. I might not get enough fun out of this. Too much time is wasted looking for targets. 10 minutes are up. Lin Zhongxiao shook his head. Axe team, get ready to deploy. I stared at the key floating in midair. Every minute on the starship felt like an hour. Taking advantage of this break, I tried 2 things. First, use the electronic resonance of collected life forms to try accessing the control systems of the 2 starships. Got no response at all. Maybe it's because we're too far apart. Or maybe it's because of the strong defensive shield on the starship's surface. Second, try scanning the 2 starships with STC to synthesize them, but STC gave an unexpected result. The 2 key starships share a common control brain. This brain has independent consciousness and personality traits. STC basic principle. Do not plunder or forcefully synthesize. Items with clear ownership. 108 points. The ultramarine armor retracted into my sleeve. I tilted my head slightly. All 12 vicious thugs from Axe Team were present, all hanging on the garbage mountain. Ning Zhongxiao stretched his back. To make the deaths look reasonable, we're only sending these 3 teams today. Everyone gets some rest early. Let's wait for their battle report in 4 hours. Zhongwei was a little disappointed, but also a little excited, because this hunting game has just started, and the curtain has only been raised. It was past midnight, and I still didn't see a fourth wave. Looks like the qualifying round is over. They probably only come to kill at night, and pretend to be regular troops during the day. I summoned a huge number of thousand-eye flies, and spread them under the 2 starships, to closely monitor every move of the starship crew. Then I headed back to the workshop in my underground shelter. Today's loot was already neatly placed on the floor. Particle cutting daggers, and 18 small electronic shielding covers. We originally got 36 small electronic shielding devices, but these devices might have built-in tracking systems. Just to be on the safe side, I did a synthesis directly in the wild. What our underground shelter lacks most right now is a full set of shielding equipment, preferably with an integrated monitoring system too. That way, it can not only block the new deep scanners above our heads, but also detect any unauthorized intruders, like Kunlun, for example, break down into raw materials. Synthesis successful. Magnetic shield. Quantity X9 broken down into raw materials. Synthesis successful. High-energy magnetic beam signal defense launcher. Quantity X4 synthesis successful. EOP gravitational field shield. Quantity X2 synthesis successful. Innocence defense array. Quantity X1 undifferentiated function. Blocks all detection signals from civilizations below level 4, or even tamper with their signal feedback at will. Even if observed with the naked eye, it can release a visual distortion field to hyper-realistically alter the observer's visual input, creating the effect that what you see isn't real. Built-in fixed-point high-energy sniper beam that follows the user's commands. To instantly eliminate abnormal intruders, built-in ionized plasma shield system can be passively activated once due to energy limit. With a maximum pressure resistance of 20 million MPa, this device comes from a level 3 technological civilization. It's literally perfect. My eyes flickered with excitement. The shielding capability is way beyond my expectations. 20 million MP. The Earth's core only has a pressure of 400,000 MP. This last function is definitely a super powerful lifesaver. I raised my hand. The golden sphere slowly rose into the air and hovered at the top of the underground shelter. Right after that, a nearly invisible pale yellow ripple completely enveloped the entire underground shelter. I looked around again and finally landed on a half-height aluminum iron bucket. Inside were thousands of tiny green capsules. These soilless culture capsules dissolve when touching water and can form a soilless culture container around 10 centimeters in diameter. You can grow all kinds of potted flowers in them. There are actually so many of these. I hope I can synthesize something that can fix this garbage-covered earth. Start synthesis. Max soilless culture capsules. Quantity X3365. After dissolving in water, the soilless culture container expands to 300 centimeters in diameter. I shook my head. It's just a simple size increase. It's pretty useless for us right now. Start synthesis. Limited surrounding space detected. We'll use partial quantity for synthesis operation. I paused for a second. The STC settings are actually pretty user-friendly. Sen 11 Ecological Cycle Platform. Maximum expandable area, 1000 x 1000 square meters. Eco-gel with built-in upgraded artificial sun. Also equipped with an inorganic matter decomposition system. Also integrated with microbial civilization, biological symbiosis enhancement technology. Creates special microorganisms that form a symbiotic relationship with plants, increasing plant growth efficiency by 6,400%. This technology comes from level 4 technology, top-tier civilization tech. My eyes sparkled with surprise. I guess for level 4 civilizations, they don't even need to grow crops to get food at all. And this SN11 Ecological Cycle Platform isn't mainstream equipment. There's no need for in-depth research on it. It breaks down inorganic matter into energy or nutrients. Isn't this basically molecular manipulation level tech? My eyes widened a little. And on this garbage-filled earth right now, as far as the eye can see, it's all fucking inorganic matter. After giving the start command, the SN11 Ecological Cycle Platform suddenly opened up countless emerald green gaps and activated its expansion mode. 6 a.m. Shoki woke up half asleep. When she stood on the wooden platform up ahead, she froze completely. Both sides of the wooden corridor bridge were full of greenery. Apple trees, pumpkins, tomatoes. Xiaoqiong just raised an eyebrow. I thought I was awake. Turns out I'm still dreaming. Call me inventor Chengqi from now on. I pointed behind me. I pulled an all-nighter inventing stuff last night. and the results are amazing. I made a literally game-changing device. Kunlun did this. 6 a.m. Colonel Ning's eyes were shaking violently. His 3 teams have been missing for a full 6 hours. No sign of them alive. No trace of their bodies either. He must have fitted himself with some crappy prosthetic limbs. After all, she used to be the Valkyrie. Haven't the penetrating scan beams arrived yet? Ning Zhongxiao was seething with rage. He roared, "Launch the scan right now! Set the scan depth to 500 meters or 300 paces underground. Even if we have to dig 300 feet down, we must find Kunlun at all costs."